Saul's strategy was simple. Hit Gideon with shock and awe, cause a little chaos, and then vanish before the dust settled. That way, they could say they followed the syndicate's orders while keeping their own risk to a minimum. Are we really doing this? Camille asked, her hesitation visible. Saul didn't waver. We're out of time. The dang forces are crumbling. If we don't act, we're defying the high command. You know the consequences better than I do. Hearing this, Camille took a deep breath and nodded. Fine, let's do it. The moment the words left her lips, the Saul and Camille factions mobilized. Bang, bang, bang. The sudden onslaught caught Gideon's forces completely off guard. Gideon whipped his head around, roaring, Camille! Saul, what the hell are you doing? Neither of them bothered to answer. They turned and sprinted away with their men. Before disappearing, Saul shouted back at Dexter, Dang, Dexter, we followed orders and helped you out. Whatever happens next is up to your own luck. The crowd realized what had happened. Patriarch Deng must have called in favors from the Saul and Camille families after hearing the news. That explained the brief covering fire. You two bastards. Gideon gritted his teeth as he watched their retreating backs. That sudden ambush had shattered his rhythm and momentum, buying the Deng family a crucial moment to breathe. Leo Evans watched them flee but didn't pursue. Instead, he looked at Gideon. You have 2 minutes. Gideon didn't waste time cursing his former allies. He rallied his men and charged again. The survival of the Gideon initiative hung on these next 2 minutes. For Gideon, they were the longest 2 minutes of his life. Dexter Deng was surrounded by his remaining bodyguards, terrified as he watched Gideon approach. Gideon, you've lost your mind. If you do this, the Gideon initiative is finished. You're destroying your own future. Gideon ignored him, hacking his way through the defense. My family's future has nothing to do with you, he growled, because you won't be alive to see it. Seeing the murderous intent, Dexter screamed to the onlookers. Everyone, help me. The Deng conglomerate will remember this favor forever. I am the sole heir. Save me, and we will grant you anything. Help me. Dexter screamed in despair, but the surrounding crowd watched with cold indifference. This was NYC. The law of the jungle prevailed. Saving him meant taking a risk, but if he died, the Deng family's future died with him. This kind of power shift was just another Tuesday in the city. In NYC, there were no permanent friends, only permanent interests. As Dexter's pleas faded, his defensive line shattered. Young master, run, a Deng bodyguard shouted, fighting desperately. Survive. Avenge us. Gideon's eyes were cold. Too late. None of you are walking out of here today. Gideon raised his gun, aiming at the fleeing Dexter. Dexter, a few hours ago when you were mocking me, I bet you didn't picture this scenario, did you? Now, go to hell. Gideon pulled the trigger. The bullet sliced through the air, aiming straight for the back of Dexter's skull. Bang! The shot connected perfectly. Blood and brain matter sprayed across the pavement. Dexter Deng was dead before he hit the ground. Ah. Gideon gasped for air, adrenaline fading, and quickly turned to look at Leo. Leo nodded in satisfaction, waving his phone. The timer on the screen was still glowing. Relax. 3 minutes. You still had a dozen seconds to spare. Gideon finally let out a breath of relief. But before he could fully compose himself, a furious roar echoed through the street. Young master. Looking up, Gideon saw a man staring in anguish at Dexter's corpse. We were one step too late. The main force of the Deng conglomerate had arrived. The leader stared daggers at Gideon, his tone frigid. I want the entire Gideon family buried with him. Deng forces, listen up. Today we wipe out the Gideon initiative. Avenge the young master. Yes. Instantly, countless muzzles aimed at Gideon and his exhausted men. Bullets began to fly without hesitation. Despair washed over Gideon's face. It's over. The current Gideon forces couldn't withstand this. Today was the day his family died. Facing the hail of bullets, Gideon lost all will to fight. He stood frozen, too drained to move. He slowly closed his eyes, waiting for death. Thud! A massive, heavy sound shook the ground, kicking up dust. Gideon startled, opening his eyes. In front of him stood a towering figure, a massive asset, shielding him from the barrage of bullets. Leo Evans stood on the asset's shoulder, his back to Gideon, looking calmly at the Deng forces. You want to kill my people without asking my permission? Or is the Deng family just pretending I don't exist? Hearing this, Gideon's knees gave out. He collapsed to the ground, looking up at Leo's silhouette. He had gambled everything, and he had won. The Gideon initiative was saved. You're Leo Evans. The leader of the Deng forces stared intensely at Leo. You think one man can take on all of us? Who gave you the nerve? Even your father, David Evans, wouldn't be this arrogant. In his view, even if Leo had some trick to control the asset, he was still human. Unless he was Superman, his abilities had limits. With enough bullets, even Leo Evans would die. Leo heard this, and a mocking smile curled his lips. In my eyes, your entire army isn't worth one of me. I heard you guys set up some kind of blacklist, and that I'm one of the top 10 targets for every major faction in NYC. Leo scanned the crowd, his voice projecting clearly. Since representatives from all the major powers are here, listen carefully. Starting today, anyone who messes with me goes on Leo Evans' blacklist. I don't care what family you're from. If one person from your faction crosses me and lands on my list, there's only one outcome. He paused, his eyes cold. Total annihilation. Total annihilation? Hearing those two words, the crowd broke into mocking expressions. Who did Leo Evans think he was? The leader of the Deng forces sneered openly. Leo, are you declaring war on every faction in NYC? Arrogance has a limit. You might be young, but you can't just spout nonsense like that. If word of this gets out, the powers of NYC will laugh themselves to death. His sentence was cut short. His eyes widened in panic. A large hand had completely covered his mouth, stifling any sound. His eyes darted to the side. Leo's face was suddenly inches from his own. When did he get here? Laugh? You like to laugh, don't you? Leo's voice whispered in his ear, like a devil's murmur. Since you enjoy it so much, go laugh in hell. Leo's grip tightened. He slammed the man's head toward the pavement. Crack! A sickening noise echoed as the concrete cracked. The Deng leader's face was obliterated. He was dead instantly. The brutal, savage execution method stunned everyone into silence. The Deng soldiers closest to Leo scrambled backward, terrified that this maniac would start a massacre. Holy shit, Leo really is lawless. The main Deng force is right here, and he still dared to attack. Shut up. Not our business. Just watch. Don't get dragged into this. True, but looks like the Deng family and Leo are in a blood feud now. Hell, let them fight. When both sides are crippled, we can pick up the scraps. However, just as the onlookers were preparing to watch the show, chaos erupted. Phones began to buzz and ring simultaneously across the crowd. What? The assets are rioting again. Your family got the message too. Yeah, they're telling us to bring everyone back immediately. Why now of all times? As the exclamation spread, a terrifying realization dawned on them. The assets, the bioweapons held by the major factions, had all gone berserk at the same time. The Deng family was no exception. Damn it, go back. There's almost no one left guarding the estate. The Deng soldiers panicked. Damien Deng had sent the bulk of their forces here to save his son. Now, the estate was vulnerable. If the assets rioted there, Damien, realizing the severity of the situation, the Deng forces couldn't care less about Leo. They turned and sprinted back to their vehicles. Other factions did the same, faces pale with fear, rushing to support their families. The previous asset riot had killed many and left a deep psychological scar on the city's underworld. Compared to a rampaging bioweapon, Leo Evans was a secondary problem. In moments, the street outside the Gideon estate cleared out. Leo didn't stop them. He frowned deep in thought. He had just arrived in NYC to cause trouble and draw attention. His dad had also lured away a significant number of enforcers. And right at this moment, the assets rioted. Was it really a coincidence? If that thing called Nyx can call out to other assets and trigger a riot. Maybe. But even if Nyx has gained sentience, I don't think it can calculate timing this perfectly. Leo looked up sharply. A possibility struck him. Nyx was responsible for the riot, but the timing. That was someone else. There was a faction in NYC communicating with Nyx. Maybe they had even formed an alliance. Leo turned around. Gideon, did every faction in NYC come to your house today? Gideon paused, confused by the question, but answered quickly. Basically, everyone came for the birthday gala. But if you mean after you arrived, pretty much everyone sent people to see the commotion. Not pretty much, Leo corrected. Was there any faction that didn't send a single person? Gideon looked blank. How was he supposed to remember that? Mr. Evans, I'd have to check the surveillance. Then go check. Leo's voice dropped. Check thoroughly. I want every person who was here identified. Collaboration between a syndicate family and the assets. This was no small matter. No wonder everyone in NYC was hunting for Nyx, but finding nothing. If someone on the inside wasn't pulling strings, Leo would eat his own shoe. Seeing Leo's serious expression, Gideon realized the gravity of the situation. Wait a moment, Mr. Evans. I'll have someone check immediately. Nearby, Grant Gideon sat slumped on a stone bench, looking like a man who had been forcibly retired. He knew that from now on, the family belonged to Gideon. Leo wouldn't allow anyone else to run it. Grant sighed deeply. He didn't know if his choice was right or wrong, but there was no turning back. If Leo rose to power, the Gideon initiative might reach new heights. But if Leo fell, the family was dead. It was a gamble, and Gideon had gone all in on Leo Evans. As for Grant, he might as well treat this birthday gala as a retirement party. From a corner, Quinn and Marco walked out. Who goes there? Gideon snapped, alert. Relax, they're mine. Leo waved his hand, then looked at Quinn. Quinn, you said before that my mom has been tracking Nix's location, right? Quinn nodded. Boss Carol said the day before yesterday that she might have found a solid lead. The day before yesterday? Leo's pupils constricted. A bad feeling washed over him. Tell her to come back. Stop looking, Leo said decisively. That lead is likely a trap. Huh, but no buts. Leo stared intensely at Quinn. Contact her. Tell her to stop. Tell her I said so. Quinn froze for a second. In that moment, she felt suppressed by Leo's aura. The guy who had called her Quinn just moments ago now felt like a commanding superior. I got it, Quinn whispered. I'll message Boss Carol right now. A few moments later, Boss Carol said she stopped. She's heading to rendezvous with your father. Quinn waved her phone, looking a bit resentful. Happy now? She was still annoyed by Leo's attitude earlier. Leo just glanced at her and nodded, saying nothing. He wasn't a heater. He didn't exist to keep everyone warm and fuzzy. Leo shot Marco a look. Marco understood immediately. Quinn, don't mind him. Mr. Evans gets like that when he's serious. He's actually really easy to get along with. Marco rushed over, smiling. So Quinn, how old are you? What's your sign? I'm a Capricorn. My mom says Scorpio girls are my best match. But I don't believe in that stuff. I think as long as we vibe. Listening to Marco's endless chatter, Quinn snapped impatiently. You're too loud. And I'm not interested in little kids like you. A little kid. The smile froze on Marco's face. He stood there, stunned. Watching Quinn walk away, he looked dejected. I'm 26. How am I a little kid? He mumbled to himself, then quickly regained his confidence and chased after her. Quinn, I can be very mature sometimes. I'm actually very rebellious. I hate rebellious men too. I like men who are in touch with their feminine side. I own a lot of pink. Not far away, Leo couldn't listen anymore. Marco. Do you have to die on this hill? When Marco used to suck up to him, it wasn't nearly this nauseating. Leo shook his head. Whatever. Respect the hustle. Who knows? Maybe they'd actually work out. Mr. Evans, I have the results. Gideon walked over, his expression grave. We checked the footage. There is indeed one faction that only sent a few people to drop off gifts and leave immediately. No one else came back to check on the fighting. Leo raised an eyebrow. Which faction? The Westcott dynasty, Gideon explained. The Westcotts are an old money family rooted in NYC for generations. Their foundations are incredibly deep. Old money? Leo asked. Are there others like them? Yes. There are many factions in NYC, but only 4 truly hold absolute power. We call them the 4 pillars. The Westcotts, the Shang dynasty, the Osborne Trust, and the Granger Foundation. Rumor has it all 4 once had the potential to become sovereign syndicates, but the Qin Directorate rose up and suppressed them. After the Manhattan incident, new powers like Leland Vance's faction emerged, but compared to the 4 pillars, they still fall short. Leo pondered this. Shang. That name reminded him of 2 people, Director Shang and Lucia Shang. Could they be related to this Shang dynasty? TSK. Is Ethan Xie going to run into one of those plots where the dad takes the daughter away from the rich family? Then they fall in love with a poor boy, and the daughter gets dragged back, forcing the boy to power up. Surely it wouldn't be that melodramatic. Then again, if it was Ethan Xie, Leo hoped it would be that dramatic. A man needs hardship to grow, right? It would be even better if Ethan could take some of Leo's hardships too. The Westcott dynasty. Anyone else acting suspicious? Currently no. Gideon's mouth twitched. Facing Leo, everyone's actions seemed suspicious. Leo nodded slightly. Could the faction working with Nix be the Westcotts? What exactly triggers the asset riots? Besides the Westcotts, has anyone else contacted Nix? Maybe. Nix was right next to me just now. Leo looked up sharply, replaying the scene. That's right. Nix looks human. With so many factions present, nobody knows everybody. When I was wrecking the Gideon estate, Nix could have blended into the crowd, watching me. It would have known instantly when the dang main force left their home. That was the timing. It called out to the other assets. The more Leo thought about it, the more plausible it seemed. If that were the case, the Deng family was probably... Gideon, can you get intel on the Deng family situation? I'll ask. Gideon pulled out his phone. Heirs like him usually had a group chat, a circle for gossip and intel. However, as Gideon prepared to type, his face went dark. He had been kicked out of the group. He also had a flood of DMs calling him a traitor, a disgrace, and worse. In short, Gideon's reputation in NYC was officially in the toilet. He was exiled from high society. Sorry, Mr. Evans. Gideon showed his phone awkwardly. Getting info might be a lot harder now. It's fine. Get used to it. Leo saw Gideon's embarrassment and comforted him. It's temporary. Stick with me, and eventually, they'll be lining up to apologize to you. Gideon swallowed the pie-in-the-sky promise with tears in his eyes. He had no other choice. I'm going out for a bit. If anything happens, I'll find you. Leo stood up, looking at Gideon nonchalantly. If any other faction comes to trouble you, tell me. If they're close by, I'll go wipe out their headquarters first. Gideon's mouth twitched. Not come save me first, but go destroy their base. That was very Leo Evans. Leo left the Gideon estate with Marco and Quinn, heading to the address David Evans had provided. Marco drove, chattering endlessly to Quinn, completely ignoring the annoyance on her face. Leo sat in the back, looking at Marco with disdain. Amateur. He pulled out his phone and texted Ava Reed. When I was chasing you, did I talk this much? A moment later, Ava replied. Yes, a lot. So much my ears almost bled, especially in the car. Seeing Ava's message, Leo's mouth twitched. I talked a lot? No way. He remembered being a shy, introverted boy. Ava must have misunderstood him. You're in NYC? How's the situation? Ava texted again. Leo sat in the back, typing leisurely. Uncle Anthony is safe. I'm on my way to meet him now. So fast. You just got there, right? Ava, you have no idea. The second I got off the train, I rushed to save my father-in-law. Didn't waste a second. All right. I know you work hard. Ava sent a voice message. When are you coming back? I'll make it up to you. Hearing Ava's voice, Leo blinked. Come to think of it, he came to NYC to save Anthony Reed. Since Anthony was safe, could he just leave? He had been having too much fun planning how to dismantle the NYC syndicates. But thinking about it now, what did the NYC factions have to do with him? Leo had an epiphany. Once he saw Anthony, he could just book tickets and fly back to Ethelberg with him. As for the Gideon family, he'd call Gideon later and ask if he wanted to move to Ethelberg. Leo immediately texted Ava. Soon. I'm coming back really soon. Really? You're not going to play around in NYC? Nah, NYC is boring. I'm bringing Uncle Anthony back. Okay, I'll wait for you at home. Since you left, Reggie has gained so much weight. So I was starving him when I was home. He seems to think so. The day you left, Reggie looked extra happy. That stupid cat. Leo decided the first thing he'd do when he got back was educate that ungrateful white furball. Otherwise, it would develop a rebellious streak. As the saying goes, the chances of your cat killing you are low, but never zero. Especially a cat with an attitude like Sir Reginald Fluffington. If Reggie knew Leo's thoughts, he would have cursed him out in the filthiest cat slang imaginable. It was only because Reggie had high moral standards that he hadn't run away yet. Following Leo meant cat food was hit or miss. What self-respecting cat could tolerate that? Okay, almost there. Gotta go. Okay, I'm taking Reggie to Quinn's place for a bath. They ended the chat. Leo put his phone away and looked out the window. They had left the city center and were navigating a rugged country road. Where is this? Leo asked. Quinn looked in the rearview mirror. This is one of Boss Carroll's safe houses. Turn right ahead, cross the bridge, and stop. You got it. Marco grinned, then executed a cool drift acceleration around the curve, parking perfectly within the lines. How was that, Quinn? Pretty slick drift, right? Marco looked at Quinn with expectant eyes, hoping for even a crumb of reaction. Quinn just glanced at him. Childish. She opened the door and got out. Leo looked at Marco with pity. Marco, maybe let it go. She's not into you. No, Mr. Evans. You don't understand her. Now. Excuse me? Bro, how does your mouth even form words that disgusting? Mr. Evans, do you believe in love at first sight? Edo, like me and Ava. I believe in it too. Marco's eyes were resolute. I can feel it. Quinn is the one I've been waiting for. Leo sighed, wanting to say something, but deciding against it. Mr. Evans, you don't know. I'm 26. I've been single for 26 years. Marco looked tragic. I really don't want to be single anymore. Even if I were a pile of crap. Surely there's a dog out there meant to eat me, right? I think if you have the means, maybe see a therapist. Leo's mouth twitched. Marco was serious. What are you two whispering about in the car? Quinn opened the door, annoyed. I've been waiting forever. Get out. Cough, coming, Quinn. Marco unbuckled his seatbelt. Leo tooted and got out too. Marco right now. To put it nicely, it was pure love. To put it bluntly, he was a simp. Was there a difference? Leo felt there was. Simps cared about the person. Pure love cared about the love. Leo felt Marco was the latter. They wound through paths until they reached the entrance of a village. Two men stood guard at the gate, holding rifles, their gazes sharp as they scanned the group. Quinn walked up, showed her ID, and pointed behind her. This is Boss David's son and his driver. Not a driver, Leo interjected. Family. Marco froze, looking at Leo, moved. Mr. Evans. Leo waved his hand, silencing him. Quinn paused for a second, then turned to the guards. Are Boss David and Boss Carol back? Returned 10 minutes ago. Resting at Outpost 3. Good. At ease. Quinn nodded and gave a crisp military salute. The men returned it perfectly. She turned to Leo. Let's go. They're all here. I'll take you to Outpost 3. Leo nodded, following Quinn, casually observing the two guards. That salute, and that unique aura. Leo studied everyone they passed on the road. A theory formed in his mind. The people in this village. They were all military, maybe retired, which mercenaries. But if they weren't retired, then his parents' background was bigger than he thought. Leo decided to test it. Quinn, what year were you discharged? Huh? Discharged? Quinn froze for a split second, then quickly said, 3 years ago? What? Leo raised an eyebrow. With his psychological acuity skill, he instantly knew she was lying. But he didn't expose her. He smiled. Nothing. Just asking for Marco. He's shy. Marco. Did I ask that? Why don't I remember? NYC. Inside a room at the Westcott estate. Silas Westcott sat on a sofa, eyes closed, resting. The door was left slightly ajar, as if he were waiting for something. A moment later, the door creaked open. A figure walked in slowly and sat opposite Silas. What's the situation? Silas asked without opening his eyes. Confirmed. The Deng family is finished. The man spoke with indifference. By the time the Deng forces returned, the entire estate had been wiped clean by the rioting assets. Damien Deng included. The 2 assets from the Deng family, plus the 2 that escaped the Gideon estate. That's 4 total out of containment. As for the other factions, their support arrived quickly, so they managed to suppress assets. For now, Silas slowly opened his eyes. And Nix, what did it say? It said it was very satisfied with your plan and hopes to continue the collaboration. Did you see it? The man shook his head. That thing is cautious. Every contact is through written notes in envelopes. And this time, it made a request. A request? Let's hear it. The man took a deep breath. It said if we can capture Leo Evans for it, it agrees to help us take control of NYC. Silas fell silent for a long time, then waved his hand, dismissing the subordinate. After the man left, a door to Silas's right opened. A silhouette walked out. You heard all that? Silas looked at the man with a hint of amusement. Leland Vance. What do you think of its proposal? Leland Vance closed the door and sat down. Leo Evans isn't easy to mess with, let alone capture alive. That kid is cursed. Silas said blandly. So you mean to refuse Nix? I mean, dealing with Leo requires a long game. Leland growled. I went up against him multiple times in Viridian. I lost almost every time. And you know he has means to deal with assets. His personal combat strength is inhuman. In my opinion, since Nix is interested in Leo, let them fight until both are crippled. Then we react accordingly. And most importantly, we still don't know Nix's true identity. That is a fatal blind spot for us, Leland said darkly. I'm worried that we aren't the only ones collaborating with Nix. Silas drank his tea, silent, staring at the table. After a long while, he pinched the bridge of his nose. Including us, the collaborators won't exceed 3 factions. And they definitely don't know Nix's true face either, or Nix would have cut contact long ago. As for Leo Evans, put him on hold. We'll discuss how to deal with him at the Syndicate Summit in 2 days. Hearing this, the light in Leland's eyes dimmed. The NYC Syndicate Summit. A monthly meeting of ours. In the past, he represents Dominion. Now, the Vance Dominion was destroyed. He had fled Viridian in disgrace, living under another's roof, relying on the Westcott dynasty for survival. Life is unpredictable. Leland laughed bitterly inside. Who would have thought the rising Vance Dominion would end up like this? All right, you can go. Let me think alone. Silas dismissed him. Leland stood up slowly and walked out, gently closing the door. Oomph. Silas Westcott, you old fossil. Still so cautious. Leland whispered venomously in the hallway. So what if you're an old pillar family? The times have changed. You timid old bastards should have been eliminated long ago. Leland walked to a secluded corner and dialed a number. Hello, this is Leland Vance. NYC outskirts inside a village. Leo and his crew arrived in front of a small house. It looked like a typical farmer's home. A large number 3 was spray-painted in black on the red iron gate. This is Outpost 3. Boss David and Boss Carol are inside. Quinn stepped aside. You going alone? Boss David said, only you. Leo nodded. Marco, wait here. He walked up and pushed the gate open. A spacious courtyard greeted him, complete with a rock garden, a pond, and some greenery. Crossing the yard, Leo reached the front door and knocked. Knock, knock, knock. Who is it? Me. Now. The door opened quickly. Leo saw the person and paused. You are Mr. Evans, hello. I am Colette Gideon, from the Gideon family. But I've turned over a new leaf and am now working for Boss David. Cole smiled, stepping aside to let Leo in. Leo's mouth twitched. I didn't hear about this. Didn't the Gideons pledge loyalty to me? Why is there a split? No, I have to tell Dad to transfer Cole to me. It feels like I stole a field of cabbages only to find out half the field was already given away. Leo walked into the living room. The scene before him turned his face black. Not far away, Director Jensen, David Evans, Carol Evans, and Anthony Reed were sitting around a square table, engaged in an intense game of poker. Anthony, can you hurry up? 3 people are waiting on you. What's the rush? I'm disabled now. Show some compassion. I raise. Raise my ass. Who cares if you're disabled? If you win this hand, you'll lose your other arm too. I call. Sorry, wifey. Royal flush. David Evans, do you have a death wish? But honey, it was the last card. I had to play it. Leo's eye twitched. He watched with a forced smile. He asked Cole, when did they start? Cole whispered cautiously. Almost half an hour ago. He had thought it was absurd too. But facts were facts. God knows how Cole felt watching these 4-star playing poker the moment they walked in. Something inside probably broke. Leo looked at Cole with sympathy. Cole cleared his throat. Boss David, Mr. Evans is here. The 4 people at the table froze. They turned their heads in unison to look at Leo. My precious son-in-law, you're finally here. Anthony Reed shoved his chips and cards into a messy pile, standing up with a look of pure joy. Boy. David Evans stared at the ruined game, then glared at Anthony. What are you doing? Trying to bail on your loss? Bail? Did you win? Anthony looked at the other 2 innocently. Did he win just now? Carol and Jensen shook their heads in sync. Nope. David's mouth twitched. This bunch. Absolute scoundrels. He played for half an hour and finally got a winning hand. Was it easy? No. Leo was speechless. He noticed Anthony's arm, or lack thereof. Uncle Anthony cosplaying as the Winter Soldier, but without the metal arm. Anthony's face darkened. He glared at David. Like father, like son. First thing you both say is the exact same roast. Jensen, why are you here? Leo looked at Director Jensen. Didn't you run away? Why are you hanging out with my dad? Jensen kept a straight face. Saving people. Stop by to visit. You brat, I haven't settled the score with you yet. Carol Evans suddenly marched over and grabbed Leo by the ear. You got guts now, huh? Getting married? A huge life event, and you don't tell me. If Julia hadn't texted me, how long were you planning to hide it? Ow, ist. Leo sucked in a breath. Mom, let go. I can explain. It was Julia Reed. She made me do it. She said not to tell you until we got the license, so she could brag to you first. Carol, let go. Leo didn't hesitate to throw Julia under the bus. Ahem. Seeing Carol gearing up for round 2, Jensen coughed. Let's discuss business. I'm not as free as you people. The Bureau has a mountain of work waiting for me. The Bureau? Leo was confused. What Bureau? David explained the Bureau of Syndicate Oversight Structure. Leo pointed at Jensen in shock. Wait, Jensen, you look like a loyal guy, but you. Watch your mouth. Jensen's face went black. Leo's boldness was getting out of hand. Leo swallowed his words. Cole, go guard the door. Yes, boss. After Cole left, the 5 of them sat on the sofas, staring at each other. Jensen looked at Leo first. Do you have a way to deal with the assets? Leo nodded frankly. Yes. What is it? You can't use it. Leo spread his hands. Really? Only I can do it. You guys have no way. Unless they had a system too. Kid, did you secretly drink Gene's serum? David looked suspicious. Your combat ability is way beyond human. You aren't going to turn into a monster later, are you? Leo's mouth twitched. You watch too many movies. Anthony sat on the side, digging for gold in his nose. I don't care about your stuff. I'm going back to Ethelberg. You guys can play in NYC all you want. Leo nodded immediately. Uncle Anthony, I'm coming with you. You're coming back? David started cursing. You just going to dump your loving parents here? Do you have any filial piety? Exactly. Mom and Dad raised you all years for nothing. Carol chimed in, wiping away a tear that didn't exist. Leo's eye twitched. Since high school, you two basically vanished. Who abandoned who? Wait, why stay? Leo asked. Why don't you two just come back with us? Hearing this, David and Carol exchanged a look inside. David stood up, his voice heavy with age. Son, I won't hide it anymore. The reason your mother and I have been in NYC all these years is because we are on a mission. The country is facing threats from outside, while inside, these factions only care about seizing power in the chaos. David looked at Leo intensely. As you saw when you came in, the people in this village are military. And your father, I am the commander of the National Operations Group. Our mission is to resolve internal conflicts so the soldiers on the border can defend against foreign enemies without looking over their shoulders. Leo was internally stunned. He stared at David. So, I'm a government brat? A Nepo baby? If I had this background, why did I have to suffer through poverty as a kid? Leo remembered studying by candlelight to change his destiny and wanted to cry. That was just unnecessary suffering. David smiled at Carol. Look at the boy. He knows we're doing such great work. He's moved to tears. Jensen's mouth twitched. Knowing Leo, those weren't tears of emotion. Wait, Dad, you said your goal is stability. Leo looked at David weirdly. Why does it feel like you've made NYC even more chaotic? David's face stiffened. What do you know? Chaos is necessary for future order. Leo didn't buy it. He felt his dad had just played around too much and botched the mission. Now he needed Leo to clean up the mess. Leo stood up decisively. I'm out. Going back to my wife. Hey, don't. David grabbed Leo's hand. Don't you see how noble, meaningful, and sacrificial your father's work is? No. Leo shook his head. I just see a dumpster fire. Hearing Leo's words, David's eyes flickered. He let go of Leo's hand abruptly. Fine, go. His face fell into a mask of sorrow. It's Mom and Dad who failed you. We didn't tell you our identities sooner. If you hate us for it, you should. Fine, go. Even if NYC is dangerous, even if Mom and Dad might die here, even if this is the last time we see each other. Wait, son, you're actually walking away? Seeing Leo not even turn his head, David rushed forward and grabbed Leo's shirt. He glanced back at the others, then whispered so only Leo could hear. You little brat, can't you leave your old man some dignity? Let go, Leo whispered back. You made the mess, you clean it up. Don't you understand sins of the father? Do you have any filial piety? You clearly lack paternal love. Who pits their son like this? I don't care. If you leave, I'm telling Ava you're an unfilial son who abandoned his parents. Leo's mouth twitched. He gritted his teeth. You win. The two walked back as if they had reconciled. Leo sat on the sofa and looked at Jensen. So, your goal is the same as my dad's? Jensen nodded. Otherwise, I wouldn't work with a guy like him. David flipped him the bird. What do you mean a guy like him? Watch your language. Jensen sneered. Your reputation is known by everyone in NYC. Seeing them about to argue, Leo raised a hand. He was in a hurry to go home and cuddle his wife. He had told Ava he'd be back soon, so this NYC mess needed to be solved fast. Simply put, the goal is to neutralize the unstable factions in NYC, right? David nodded, adding, but we can't use excessive violence. Can't have too many casualties. Bad optics. At least, not like the Manhattan incident. Hearing this, Leo stood up to leave again. Staying to clean up the mess was one thing, but these restrictions? No violence? No killing? What was he supposed to do? Talk no jutsu them into submission? He wasn't a monk. Why are you standing up? Sit down. Carol, who hadn't spoken much, looked at Leo. Try walking out that door. Leo sat back down obediently. The hierarchy was clear. Carol smiled. The reason we need you is that we currently have no way to deal with the assets. Especially Nick's. Honestly, it's tricky. We can handle the families. But the existence of the assets adds too many variables. So, son, as the only person capable of solo killing an asset, you are a strategic resource for us. Leo scratched his head and scanned the room. So, I just need to help you deal with the assets. And Nick's, Carol said slowly. You had Quinn message me to stop investigating Nick's. Did you find something? Everyone sat up straighter, looking at Leo. They hadn't heard this part. Leo sighed lightly. I suspect a faction is secretly collaborating with Nyx. Jensen asked immediately, why do you say that? Any suspects? Leo explained everything that happened that day and his deductions. Half an hour later, the Westcott dynasty. David frowned. Silas Westcott, that old fossil, is definitely capable of something like this. That guy's a snake, smiling on the surface, but more ambitious than anyone. Jensen paced the living room. But the Westcotts aren't easy to deal with. The four pillars have always been a united front. If we move on one, the other three will reinforce. And the whereabouts of the assets from the Deng and Gideon families are unknown. Anthony sat on the side, glancing at them, then went back to eating fruit. None of this concerned him. His ticket back to Ethelberg was booked. He was leaving soon. He'd go back, live a quiet life, and surely Julian wouldn't have the heart to kill a disabled old man, right? Right? What do we do? Interrogate Silas. David growled. Why don't we just ambush the Westcott estate with Leo right now? Leo's mouth twitched. Who just said no excessive violence? As expected, Carol glared at David. Brainless idiot. If the Westcotts aren't involved, or aren't deeply involved, we spook the snake. I think we need to send an undercover agent into the Westcott family to check the situation. David nodded without hesitation. Undercover? Who has the skill to infiltrate the Westcotts? Given their power and Silas's caution, this agent needs to be cunning and strong and able to hide their true self. David's voice trailed off. He looked at Leo. Everyone else looked at Leo. Leo blinked. Why? Are you all looking at me? Son, I remember you know how to use disguises, right? Carol sat next to him. Mom has a proposition. Why don't you go undercover at the Westcott estate? Looking around the room, Mom thinks you're the perfect fit. Leo sighed deeply. You already decided? Why ask me? He paused. I can go, but I have conditions. Everyone froze. Leo held up 2 fingers. 1. I plan the entire operation. You just coordinate. 2. I want funding and manpower, and they must obey my commands exclusively. Hearing the conditions, David and the others considered it briefly, then nodded. That's fine. But about the funding, how much do you need? Well, Leo thought for a moment. What are the housing prices in NYC? The next day, on a street somewhere in NYC, a small shop was currently undergoing noisy renovations. Hey guys, please work a little overtime today. We need this place renovated properly. That sign needs to be higher. A little to the left. Yes, yes. You guys go hand out flyers. The promotion needs to be aggressive. Marco was directing traffic. After arranging everything, he whispered to the middle-aged man beside him. Mr. Evans, is my arrangement okay? Leo, disguised as a middle-aged man, nodded slightly. The shop is a bit small, but it'll do. NYC real estate prices are even more insane than I thought. It's impressive my dad could secure a place like this. Marco looked left and right, checking for suspicious characters, then whispered, Mr. Evans, this whole area is Westcott territory. Isn't it too dangerous? What are you afraid of? The louder the noise, the better. I'm worried about not attracting their attention. Leo stepped forward. A large blackboard sat at the entrance. Leo picked up a chalk and wrote in bold, flowing letters, Specialist in falls and trauma. Infertility expert. Performance enhancers available. After writing, Leo looked up at the sign above the shop. For large characters, Virtue Clinic. To infiltrate the Westcotts, first, I need a clean identity. My dad can handle that. Second, I need the Westcotts to see my value. I need them to want to recruit me. In these chaotic times, doctors are the most sought-after commodity. They have the highest value. So, as long as the Westcotts realize I'm a doctor with a clean background and superior skills, plus a little nudging, joining them will be easy. Leo turned to Marco. Marco, from now on, my name is Dr. Rain. Don't call me Mr. Evans anymore. Call me Dr. Rain or Boss. Got it. Marco nodded like a chicken pecking rice. Understood, Boss Rain. During the Gideon battle, Marco was present but played a transparent role. No one noticed him, so Leo wasn't afraid of Marco being recognized. Plus, Leo's current subordinates were mostly his dad's people, whom he didn't know well. Marco was better, versatile, and loyal. Vince, can the shop be finished tonight? Leo turned to a man nearby. This was Vince, one of David's top lieutenants. Vince looked at Leo. This place was already a traditional medicine shop. Just needs some retrofitting. Won't take long. But, Dr. Rain, are you sure you don't need to buy some advanced medicine? Vince was puzzled. Currently, the clinic only has basic gauze and medical supplies. If you really want to treat patients, that won't be enough. Leo smiled and waved his hand nonchalantly. It's fine. My medical skills are superb. I don't need that stuff. Low-tier skill. Medical mastery. Leo hadn't expected it to be labeled a low-tier skill. It covered both Eastern and Western medicine, and even complex surgeries. Essentially, Leo could walk in a New York Presbyterian right now and outshine their top specialists. Unfortunately, he lacked a license. He had the skills, but had to pass exams to prove it. The next board exam was in 2 months. He couldn't wait that long. Hence, the clinic strategy. You guys keep working. Mark, drive me to the airport. Leo signaled Vinci. He asked Marco to take him to the airport. It was about time for Anthony to leave NYC. Since he had nothing else to do, Leo decided to see him off. An hour later, outside the airport terminal. Boo-hoo, my good son-in-law, I really can't bear to leave you. Anthony hugged Leo tight. Why don't you just come with me? Leo's mouth twitched. Uncle Anthony, if you're going to cry, at least squeeze out a tear. Such a veteran actor, and he couldn't even produce moisture. Was he just that happy to be going back to Ethelberg? Ahem, don't expose me. Anthony let go, cursing. I'm leaving, and only you came to see me off. And looking like that. Leo was still in his DR. Rain disguise. He looked older, but still retained a certain pretty boy quality. Can't help it, Uncle Anthony. My dad and I are wanted men. Leo shrugged. You don't want to cause a scene at the airport and miss your flight, right? Tui, don't jinx me. Anthony interrupted. I finally get to retire from the underworld. Don't curse me. Once I'm back in Ethelberg, I'm getting a disability card immediately. I didn't lose this arm for nothing. I want all the benefits. Leo's sweat dropped. Looking at the empty sleeve, he asked, Can't you fix it? Prosthetics. Anthony looked down. There are ways. High-end prosthetics exist. Money isn't an issue. But son-in-law, don't you think I look more handsome this way? Anthony's eyes glittered with excitement. When I get back, I'll put on a deep, tragic face. I'll tell everyone I survived a brutal war. My dreams remained in NYC. My career. All right. Uncle Anthony, go through security. Leo interrupted, face black. What kind of drama was he rehearsing? Dreams? Career? Did you ever have those? If Anthony tried acting like that, Leo guaranteed Julia and Ava would beat him up. Son-in-law, I'll wait for you in Ethelberg. Protect yourself in NYC. Anthony waved goodbye tearfully through the security gate. Leo waved back. Once Anthony disappeared from view, he exhaled. Phew, finally gone. These old guys, none of them are worry-free. Leo lifted his chin. Not steady at all. Unlike me. I'm calm, cool, collected. I never create messes. Marco looked up at Leo, blinked, and said nothing. Marco, right? Ah, yes. Boss Rain is the calmest person I've ever met. Leo nodded in satisfaction. Just as they were about to head back, a commotion broke out nearby. Look, that's the Shang family. Why so many people? Did something big happen? You don't know? Rumor has it the lost daughter of the Shang dynasty is returning to the today. What? The Shangs have a daughter? Since when? It's an old story. The patriarch had an illegitimate child. Years ago, the child took his young daughter and left the Shang family. Now, that daughter has suddenly announced her return. Wow, a bastard's daughter, and the Shang family is actually acknowledging her. Tell me about it. Hey look, she's coming out. With Leo's hearing, he caught the conversation. A bad feeling rose in his gut. No way. Is it actually that melodramatic? However, when Leo looked over and saw the familiar figure, he sucked in a cold breath. The so-called Shang heiress was Lucia Shang. Boss, isn't that Lucia? Marco whispered, shocked. Duh, I'm not blind. Leo's mouth twitched. What kind of plot twist was this? He had just been joking about it. Did Ethan know? Wait, something's off. Leo frowned, studying Lucia's expression. Why does she look like she's being coerced? Is there some dog drama going on? Marco, let's get closer. Leo led Marco to the front of the crowd. Lucia was surrounded by Shang enforcers, treated like a celebrity but isolated. No one dared approach. Lucia looked icy, walking slowly. Leo decided to check the situation. He turned to Marco. Marco, hold me. Huh? Marco froze. Leo suddenly pulled out a pair of sunglasses, put them on, and grabbed Marco's arm, stumbling forward. The Shang guard saw someone appear and barked, Move! Don't block the way. However, Leo kept walking as if he heard nothing. Are you deaf? Didn't you hear me? A guard shoved Leo. Leo immediately fell to the ground, wailing. Ow! Help! Assault! Someone's bullying a disabled person at the airport. I can't see, and people are still abusing me. Is there any justice? Is there any law in NYC? Your city security is trash. Unsafe. The guard was dumbfounded. Disabled? You're just wearing sunglasses. No cane, no dog. How the hell was I supposed to know you're blind? Seeing the crowd gathering, the The Shang guard quickly pulled out a wad of cash, shoved it into Leo's hand. He whispered, "There's at least $1,000 here. Get lost. Don't be ungrateful." Normally, he wouldn't do this, but today was critical. They had to get Lucia back to the estate without incident. Who knew? Leo took the money and slapped the man across the face with it. Smack. Who wants your stinking money? Apologize to me. Think you're tough because you're rich? Rich people can just insult anyone. Leo stuffed the money into his pocket while cursing and pointing fingers. Beside him, Marco played along immediately. That's right. My big brother hasn't done a bad thing in his life. Even born blind, he never begged for money. He's been kind his whole life, only to be bullied by you rich folks. Is there justice? The crowd gasped. These two have a death wish. That's the Shang dynasty. And they're talking about justice? Too bad. Those two probably won't survive the day. Ignorance is bliss. But the Shangs have been tyrants for too long. Shh, quiet. You want to die? Inside the Shang circle, Lucia frowned at the scene. But when Marco spoke, she saw his face. Isn't he Leo's? Lucia's heart shook. She looked at the blind man on the ground in disbelief. That tone, that shameless behavior, it was unmistakable. That was absolutely Leo Evans. Lucia didn't hesitate. She walked forward but was blocked. Miss, please stay where you are, a guard said coldly. Lucia's face hardened. I'll go resolve this. To avoid complications. You don't want a scene either, do you? The guard hesitated, then lowered his voice. Don't try anything. Lucia breathed a sigh of relief and walked toward Leo. Sir, let's get up and talk, okay? Lucia reached out her hand. Under the sunglasses, Leo's eyes narrowed. He saw a piece of paper hidden in Lucia's palm. She was signaling him with her eyes to take it. Without hesitation, Leo grinned lewdly. Finally someone sensible, and such a sweet voice must be a beauty. He reached out with a creepy expression, grabbed Lucia's hand, and took the note. The crowd looked at Leo with disgust. Pervert. Shameless. Sir, this was our fault. You took the money, and I'm apologizing on their behalf. Is that acceptable? Lucia wanted Leo to leave. Delaying would be dangerous. Apologize? Leo smiled. An apology works. But I don't need you to do it, miss. I want him to apologize personally. Leo pointed a finger directly at the man who had pushed him. The crowd watched, confused. Was this guy really blind or faking it? If he was blind, he pointed pretty accurately. If he wasn't, this was pure extortion. Blackmailing the Shang family? Did anyone have balls that big? Lucia was anxious. What was Leo doing? Was he trying to rescue her right here? But she couldn't leave yet. Lucia was overthinking it. Leo just didn't like the guy's face. There was some acting involved, sure, but Leo Evans wasn't someone a random Shang grunt could insult. Everyone else could go, but the man who pushed him had to pay. Think carefully. You sure you want my apology? The man walked forward, face dark and menacing. He didn't want trouble, but since this blind fool was asking for it, he didn't mind teaching him a lesson. He pulled a steel baton from behind his back and walked slowly toward Leo. The guard who had blocked Lucia earlier stepped up and pulled her back. Then he said to the man, Barry, just teach him a lesson. Don't kill him. You got it, Big Mike. I know my limits. Barry grinned savagely, hefting the baton as he closed in on Leo. The crowd whispered, fearful. The Shang family is too arrogant. Doing this in public. Back when the Oversight Bureau was active, they wouldn't dare. It's different now. Look at security. They're pretending not to see. No one wants to cross the Shangs. In NYC, no one touches the 4 pillars. Not the small families and definitely not us civilians. Pity. That blind guy is doomed. Leo looked blandly at Barry, glancing at the baton. He sighed. Are you sure you want to do this? I advise you to reconsider. Scared now? Regretting it? No, I'm afraid you'll regret it. Stubborn till the end. I'll teach you a lesson today. Barry looked down at Leo. Blind man, stay home. Don't run around provoking people you can't afford to offend. Barry swung the baton viciously at Leo's forehead. The crowd squeezed their eyes shut, anticipating the spray of blood. Arg! The crowd opened their eyes and froze, jaws dropping. Barry was on the ground, clutching his arm in agony, kneeling before the man in sunglasses. His legs were twisted at an unnatural angle, broken. Leo stood in front of him, holding the steel baton that should have been in Barry's hand. Sigh. I told you to reconsider. Why didn't you listen? Leo spoke with complex emotion, taking off his sunglasses and tossing them aside. Marco caught them effortlessly. Bastard, Big Mike roared. Don't let him escape. Instantly, the Shang guards surrounded Leo and Marco. Marco blinked, counting. About 20 guys. Not enough for Leo to play with for 3 minutes. Marco wasn't worried at all. Leo looked depressed. He had just changed identities. Only a few hours in, and he was exposed. Back at the clinic, he'd have to change faces again. And Marco couldn't show his face either. You guys, is apologizing that hard? Why do you have to make so much trouble for me? Leo walked forward, looking annoyed, closing the distance to Barry. You, don't come over. Barry's eyes were filled with terror. His lips trembled. You, who are you? What do you want? Want? Leo frowned, looking baffled. You pushed me. You insulted me. And now you ask what I want. Are all Shang family people this shameless? The crowd went into an uproar. Who is this guy? Publicly insulting the entire Shang dynasty? Get him. Stop talking. Big Mike shouted through gritted teeth. Leave him breathing. We'll interrogate him later. The 20 guards rushed Leo simultaneously. Leo didn't blink. He swung the baton twice, then vanished from his spot. Bang, 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 art. Thuds of metal on meat mixed with screams. In just a few breaths, the 20 elite Shang enforcers were all on the ground, groaning in pain. Holy shit, is he human? Am I dreaming? One guy instantly dropped 20 elites. Who is this guy? Never heard of someone like this in NYC. Did the Shangs kick an iron plate? Maybe. But 20 guys is nothing to the Shang dynasty. One person can't fight a monster like that. Big Mike's face was hideous. He stared at Leo's face, trying to recall any major figure in NYC who looked like this. Nothing. You. Who are you? I'm your daddy. Aren't you afraid of the Shang family's retaliation? Come retaliate against your daddy. Come on. Bastard. Yes, curse your daddy like that. Keep going. Leo's taunting skill was top tier. Within 3 sentences, he could make a saint blow a gasket. Leo ignored Big Mike and turned to Barry, sneering. Didn't you say you were going to teach me a lesson? Barry looked at Leo in horror, shaking his head like a rattle. Are you kidding? 1 second, 20 guys down. Who's teaching who? Barry realized he had messed with the wrong person. Acting cowardly now was the best option. A wise man knows when to fold. Seeing Mike Chun cower, Leo Evans couldn't be bothered to stoop to his level. He looked up at Lucia Shang. You coming or not? Mike Chun, hearing this, whipped his head around in fury. You two know each other? Lucia was speechless. She hadn't wanted to cause such a huge scene. She had written the note beforehand, hearing that Leo was in NYC, intending to pass it to him discreetly. But now there was no point in hiding it. She looked at Leo and explained, I can't leave. My father is still in the Shang family's hands. Leo frowned. They're using your dad to threaten you? What's their objective? Mike Chun hurriedly interjected. Lucia Shang, think carefully before you speak. If you dare betray the family, your father will. Thwack. Leo slammed his baton hard onto Mike's leg. Mike screamed, finally understanding the pain the 20-something men on the floor were feeling. You talk too much. Who are you threatening in front of me? Leo rested the baton on his shoulder, adopting a hooligan-like expression. You think the Shang dynasty is hot shit? Mike bit his lip, cold sweat pouring down his forehead. Looking at the crowd around them, he felt a humiliation deeper than the pain. To be beaten to his knees in public. He swore he wouldn't rest until he had revenge. Lucia glanced at Mike, then quickly said to Leo, their target is Henry Yen. Dr. Quentin Marks is dead. The only person left who was involved in the gene serum research is Henry Yen. The Shang dynasty's goal is obvious. Henry was under my father's protection, but the Shang family suddenly raided Westlake City and captured my dad. They didn't find Henry, though. I was traveling with Ethan C. at the time, so I escaped capture. Now, they want to use me to force my father to reveal Henry's location. So that's how it is. Where's old man Sia? Leo asked. Lucia shook her head and glanced at Mike Chun, staying silent. Leo instantly understood. She was afraid of exposing Ethan Sia's location. They must have a plan, otherwise Lucia wouldn't have come back so obediently. In that case, how about I go with you to the Shang estate and bust your dad out? Leo suggested. Lucia shook her head decisively. The 4 great families of NYC are united. You can't take them on alone. Ethan and I have a plan. We'll contact you when we need you. Lucia wasn't afraid to say this in front of Mike, because it was obvious anyway. Hearing this, Leo hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Lucia was right. With his current strength, taking on the 4 pillars alone would be a stretch. The main issue was numbers. There were too many of them, and Leo lacked stamina. With all skills activated, he could fight at peak capacity for maybe 5 minutes. Within those 5 minutes, he was invincible. He could pummel an asset if one showed up. But after 5 minutes, he'd hit an exhaustion period. If he forced his skills then, his body would collapse. He considered using manifest acquisition, but that required physical contact. Once he hit his limit, he'd be lucky to stand, let alone touch a target. All right, I won't interfere then. Call me if you can't handle it. Leo waved his hand, turning to leave with Marco. Before going, he looked back at Mike Shun. Pass a message to your Shang patriarch. If anything happens to Lucia or her dad, the Shang dynasty can wait to be erased from the map of NYC. That's a threat, not a notification. Shortly after Leo left, the Shang family reinforcements finally arrived. Mike, where's the guy? He left. Mike was helped up, his face pale. Let's get back to the estate first. He glared at Lucia. Based on the conversation, he had a vague guess as to who the attacker was. Someone lawless, close to Lucia and Ethan, who dared to threaten the Shang dynasty directly. Mike thought back to the files he'd read. There was only one person. The guy who arrived in NYC yesterday, caused chaos and asset riot. Leo Evans. The reason Mike hadn't dared to speak earlier was that he realized who it was. Shutting up was the best survival strategy. That maniac dared to solo an entire syndicate family. The Gideon initiative might be small compared to the Shangs, but Leo had earned the do not mess with label in a single day. This is getting complicated. I have to report to the Patriarch immediately. Mike's eyes flickered. Leo Evans wasn't their plan. With this unstable element involved, the Patriarch would need to reconsider everything. Mr. Evans, I can't go back to the clinic, can I? Marco asked dejectedly as he drove. Today's exposure meant someone would recognize his face. Leo didn't care. He could change his face anytime. As for being seen with Marco at the clinic entrance that morning, that was easy. He'd just have David Evans delete the surveillance footage. Hearing Marco's worry, Leo shrugged. It's fine. Later, I'll have my dad get you a realistic silicone mask or just some professional makeup. In this day and age, makeup is basically shape-shifting. Unless they look closely, no one will know. Worst case scenario, if we're exposed, we just handle whoever exposes us. If you can't solve the problem, solve the person who found the problem. Marco looked at Leo with adoration. As expected of Mr. Evans, you think of everything. While talking, they arrived back at the clinic. Go find my dad first. Once you're disguised, come back to the clinic. Leo gave Marco instructions and stepped out of the car, already wearing a different face. He still had that slightly feminine, sickly aura, but the features were completely different. Vince saw someone approaching and reached out to stop him. Hold it. No entry. It's me. Dr. Rain. Leo spoke, stunning Vince for a second. Mr. Evans. He changed his face again. Vince remained cautious, whispering the code. Leo deadpanned. The hotter the burrito. Vince replied. The faster they die. Leo, hold the cilantro. Vince, or kiss your life goodbye. Leo and Vince exchanged a look and nodded in satisfaction. The code was correct. Soon, evening approached, and the renovations at Virtue Clinic were wrapping up. Marco returned, disguised with a new face. How is it, Mr. Dr. Rain? Can you recognize me? Marco asked proudly. Carol Evans did my makeup herself. It's like I'm a whole new person. Leo scrutinized him. The change was significant. He even looked a bit more handsome. His mom's makeup skills were undeniable, though still a step below his doppelganger skill. Dr. Rain, the clinic is basically ready. What do we do now? Vince looked around, ensuring no one was listening, before whispering, to get the Westcott dynasty's attention, we need customers. Otherwise, they won't notice a small clinic like this. Leo smiled softly. No worries, Vince. You guys pull out. I'll handle the rest. Vince didn't ask further questions. He did a final sweep and evacuated his team. After they left, Leo stood at the door, looking up at the night sky. A moment later, he turned to Marco. Marco, get everything ready here. I'm going out. Ready. Marco paused. Ready for what? Ready for business, of course. Leo smiled cryptically. This was a clinic. The customers they needed were patients. Since there were no customers, he would manufacture them. Since there was no demand, he would create demand. Leo stepped out, turned a corner, and headed in a specific direction. His destination, the Sioux clan, a small vassal family within the Westcott dynasty's territory. Under the cover of night, Leo reverted to his original face and swaggered toward the Sioux estate. Halt! Who goes there? The Sioux family guard shouted at the approaching Leo. This is private property. Scram! Leo didn't stop. A black steel staff materialized in his hand. He looked up, eyes flashing with intensity. I'm looking for the Sioux clan. Leo launched himself like a cannonball, vaulting over the two guards and kicking the massive iron gate. Boom! The gate burst open with a deafening crash. The guard stood frozen. Dude, are you an asset? Why so violent? Sioux family. Get out here. Your grandpa Leo has business with you. Leo stood in the courtyard shouting, I heard you rely on the Westcott dogs to bully people in this district. Today, I'm enforcing justice on behalf of heaven. I'm taking you all down. The Sue family mobilized instantly, going on full alert. Xavier Sue, the family head, stepped out from the crowd. Recognizing Leo, his mouth twitched. Why is this plague here? Why did he come to my house? When did the Sue family provoke him? Leo Evans, my family hasn't offended you, Xavier said darkly. What is the meaning of this? The rest of the family looked at their patriarch strangely. Why did it feel like the boss was afraid of this kid? He was just one guy. Just take it down, right? Xavier glared at them. You idiots know nothing. Yesterday, this guy flipped the Gideon initiative upside down single-handedly and solo killed an asset. The Sue family is weaker than the Gideons. We survive only by licking Westcott boots. I told you, enforcing justice. Leo cracked his neck. I'm in a hurry. I have 2 more families to visit after this. Leo, before Xavier could finish, Leo moved. The staff blurred. Leo wove through the crowd, and screams erupted. In less than 2 minutes, everyone in the Sue family courtyard was on the ground. Leo held back, only breaking bones, avoiding lethal blows. The only people left standing were Xavier Sue and the 2 gate guards. The guard were terrified. We held a guy like that. Are we going to die? However, Leo's next words relieved them. Sue clan, this is just a warning. If I hear about you bullying people again, I'll be back. Leo turned and left without looking back. No one dared to stop him. Xavier was bewildered. What was that about? He came, beat up my people, and left? Boss, what do we do? The guards asked timidly. Should we tell young Master Westcott? Xavier's eyes flickered. No need. Didn't Leo say he had 2 more families? I bet he's going to the Chins and the Wongs. Master Westcott happens to be at the Wong estate right now. If Leo goes there, they'll meet. But won't Master Westcott be in danger? I want him to be in danger, Xavier said grimly. We need Leo to make enemies with the Westcotts, or the Westcotts will never stick their necks out for us. He glared at the guards. What are you 2 staring at? Get these people to the hospital. There's only 3 of us standing. You want me to do the heavy lifting? The guards scrambled to call ambulances. 15 minutes later, the Chun Crew estate. Chun family, get out here. Today, Leo Evans enforces justice. Shortly after, the Chun estate echoed with wails, suffering the same fate as the Zus. Quick, to the hospital, Caleb Chun roared. Under the night sky, Leo was rushing toward the Wong estate. Damn, why is the Wong place so far? Leo checked the map. It would take 20 minutes. He scanned a city bike equivalent, a shared green e-scooter, and rode off. It was late, and NYC safety was a joke anyway, so he skipped the helmet. Plus, the shared helmets were gross. Leo sped toward the Wong estate, wind in his hair. This scooter was the only vehicle he knew how to drive perfectly. Luckily, no traffic cops stopped him, though he passed several ambulances. He wondered what that was about. NYC, the Wong estate. Master Westcott, please taste this. I've been saving this vintage for over 10 years. Walter Wong stood by the table, obsequiously pouring wine for the man seated there. Sebastian Westcott picked up the glass, smiling drunkenly. Walter, I know what you want. You want a bigger slice of the resources next year, right? Just behave yourself. I'll talk to my dad later, maybe shift some of the Sioux and Chun quotas to you. After all, you've been loyal. I see that. Walter beamed, thrilled inside. Outwardly, he remained humble. Master Westcott, you're too kind. Without the Westcott dynasty's protection, the Wong Syndicate wouldn't exist today. We wouldn't dare ask for more. Sebastian knew the old fox was feigning politeness. You don't want it? Fine, forget I said anything. Oh well, since you offered, refusing would be disrespectful. Walter grinned shamelessly. Sebastian laughed and pointed at his empty glass. Walter immediately refilled it. Master Westcott, let's drink slowly. After dinner, I'll send 2 companions to your room. They've admired you for a long time. A perfect chance to get to know them. Sebastian understood immediately, pointing at Walter with a smirk. Walter, you really know my tastes. If I didn't know what you liked after all this time, I wouldn't be where I am today. Both men burst into laughter. Fisk, what's with this Wong family? No parking spots near the entrance. Leo grumbled as he walked, having just parked his scooter. He'd circled for ages before finding a docking station blocks away. Yo, sounds lively in there. Leo could hear the laughter from a distance. Good, more audience. He approached the gate. The guard shouted, Hey, pretty boy. Scram. Restricted area. Leo paused. He'd been stopped by guards a lot today. He didn't usually mind. It was their job. He hadn't hurt the Chun or guards just for doing their job. But this Wong Gar had a nasty tone. Pretty boy. Scram? Leo was annoyed. Who are you calling pretty boy? With hesitation, he delivered the bone-breaking special. Ard. The guard collapsed. Leo kicked the door in. Boom. Wong family. Listen up. Grandpa Leo is here to enforce justice. Leo used the same script, maybe changing a pronoun or two. However, after shouting, Leo blinked. Huh, why are there so many people? Unknown to him, Sebastian Westcott had brought a large contingent of Westcott bodyguards. Walter and Sebastian heard the commotion and walked out. Walter's pupils shrank when he saw the intruder. You, Leo Evans. Leo Evans. Sebastian heard the name and scrutinized Leo. You're Leo Evans? The number 10 on the blacklist. Sebastian looked intrigued. So young. Interesting. Want to be my bodyguard? I am Sebastian Westcott, the heir to the Westcott dynasty. If you agree to serve me, I can overlook today's intrusion and forgive you out of the kindness of my heart. Walter relaxed slightly. He had forgotten Sebastian was there. The Westcott dynasty wasn't the Gideon initiative. With Sebastian here, Leo wouldn't dare attack indiscriminately. To attack Sebastian was to declare war on the four pillars. Leo heard Sebastian and was momentarily confused. What? Overlook? Forgive me? Are all you Westcotts this arrogant? Even more than me. You're the heir? Leo asked. Of course. The only one. The only one. Leo's mouth twitched. The Westcott dynasty was doomed. With an idiot heir like this, hadn't the patriarch considered having another kid? Hey, Leo looked at Sebastian like he was looking at a mentally deficient child. Is your brain okay? You look pitiful. How about you come scoop my cat's litter box? If you do a good job, I might consider beating you gently. Sebastian and Walter froze, then realized the insult. Leo was saying Sebastian's IQ was only fit for scooping poop. Leo Evans, I will make you regret those words. Get him. Take him down. I want to torture him slowly. The Westcott and Wong forces charged. Leo kept a straight face. A lot of people. Might take a bit more time. He was in a rush to get back to the clinic. He pulled out the black staff. To save time, he went full throttle. Ard, my leg. Where is he? I can't track his speed. Protect the young master. Quick, Ard. Walter watched, cold sweat drenching him. They weren't stopping Leo. It wasn't a fight. It was a slaughter. Walter finally remembered the rumors. They weren't exaggerated. This guy really could solo a family. A bona fide monster. Master Westcott, we need to go. Walter panicked. Leo is stronger than we thought. We need to run and regroup. Sebastian nodded furiously. The moment Leo started fighting, he wanted to leave. He hadn't expected the guy to be this brutal. NYC, the Wong estate. Leo was diligently serving his customers the fracture special, like it was on clearance. Suddenly, he heard movement and looked up. He saw Walter Wong and Sebastian Westcott trying to sneak away. His eyes narrowed. You gotta be kidding me. If I let you two run, how am I supposed to survive in this city? Leo threw his staff like a javelin, aiming straight for the back of Sebastian's head. The bodyguard shouted, Master, look out! Too late. Before Sebastian could turn, the staff connected with a dull thud. Sebastian's eyes rolled back, and he face-planted into the dirt. Master Westcott. Walter was terrified. If Sebastian died here, the Wong syndicate was finished. Sebastian could die anywhere, just not here. Walter summoned all his strength, trying to hoist Sebastian on his back. But years of indulgence had left Walter weak. He could barely lift the man. He finally got Sebastian up, sweating profusely. He prepared to run, but felt something was wrong. Why does my back feel cold? Is he heavy? Want me to carry him for you? Leo's voice drifted from behind Walter. I'm a helpful citizen, you know. Seeing you so tired. Let me help. Walter shuddered violently. He turned his head mechanically. He met Leo's smiling eyes. Normally, people found Leo's eyes charming. Ava had said they were his best feature. But to Walter, they were the eyes of the Reaper. Cat got your tongue? And Mr. Evans. Thud. Walter dropped Sebastian and felt his knees sliding toward Leo. Mr. Evans, please spare me. It was Sebastian who offended you. I was forced to go along with him. Walter kowtowed repeatedly. Leo was impressed. This family head was flexible. His knees must be made of jelly. Leo glanced at the unconscious Sebastian, raised an eyebrow, and stepped past Walter. He picked up his staff and tapped Sebastian on the back of the head a few more times for good measure. Bonk. Bonk. That should keep him out for 2 or 3 days. Job done. Leo ignored Walter and left. Walter kept his head down, eyes shut tight. After a long silence, he opened one eye. Leo was gone. He sighed in relief. He was the only one in the entire estate still mobile. The weight of the situation returned as he looked at the unconscious heir. He checked Sebastian's breathing. Still alive. Thank God. He needed a hospital. Walter pulled out his phone to call an ambulance. What do you mean the hospital is full? Are you kidding me? A massive NYC hospital can't squeeze in one bed. Full since 30 minutes ago. The Su and Chun families are there. Walter was dumbfounded. Why now? With no choice, Walter bit the bullet and called the Westcott main house to send a team to take Sebastian to a specialized private facility further away. Meanwhile, Virtue Clinic. Marco sat at the counter, staring out the window. Another ambulance passed. That's the 11th one. Marco muttered, "What is happening out there?" Suddenly, another ambulance pulled up, but this one stopped. 2 men out. Where's the doctor? Marco stood up nervously. Hello, are you? We're with the Chun crew. Your sign says you treat trauma and fractures. The man signaled, and a crowd of groaning men unloaded from the back, all victims of Leo's service. Marco gulped. This was a clinic, sure, but he wasn't a doctor, and Leo hadn't come back yet. What's wrong? Can't treat them. The Chin man's face darkened, ready to get violent. A crisp voice came from the back room. We could treat them. Why couldn't we? Marco turned in surprise. Leo walked out slowly, disguised as Dr. Rain. When did Mr. Evans get back? He didn't make a sound. Marco's confidence returned instantly. He straightened his back. This is Dr. Rain, the owner and our only physician. Only physician? The Chin man frowned. Just one doctor? Leo coughed lightly. Medicine is about quality, not quantity. He walked up to an injured man and gently touched his arm. Arg. Hurts. Bear with it. Crack. The man screamed. You bastard, what are you doing? The others roared. Curing him, Leo said calmly. The patient blinked, moving his arm. It doesn't hurt. My arm is fixed. The crowd's gaze shifted. This doctor was legit. The lead Chin man became respectful. Dr. Rain, please help us. We have many brothers injured. Inside Virtue Clinic, Leo smirked internally at the Chun family's attitude shift. Treating these injuries was easy for 2 reasons. 1, his medical mastery skill. 2, he inflicted them. He knew exactly what he broke and how. He didn't even need to ask where it hurt. Leo pondered. Treat them. Sure, but I have conditions. Conditions? The man frowned impatiently, but held his tongue. What conditions? This scale of injury implies you offended someone powerful, Leo said slowly. Treating you puts me at risk of offending that person too. So, you must guarantee my safety. And the medical fees will be higher. Second, my method is a trade secret. No spectators allowed during treatment. Finally, confidentiality. Don't advertise that I treated you. As I said, I don't want trouble. Agree to these, and I'll start. The Chun man thought for a second and nodded. Saving his men was the priority. They were the Chun crew. A small clinic wouldn't dare cross them later anyway. Fine. Agreed. Just treat them. Leo nodded contentedly. Marco, line them up. $1,500 a head. Payment up front. Marco nodded like a pink chicken. Yes, Dr. Rain. Wait, the Chun man shouted. $1,500 a person? Is this a clinic or a robbery? I told you the fees are higher. My technique is exclusive. They'll be walking immediately. Plus it's night. Overtime rates. Leo pointed at the crowd. Look at how many there are. I'll be working till dawn. If you think it's expensive, go to the hospital. My temple is small. It can't house big gods like you. The Chun man's mouth twitched. If the hospital wasn't full, would he be here? Fine. 1,500. Start. He'd make this guy spit the money out later tenfold. He paid the first $1, 500. Marco collected it. Send one in. Inside the room, Leo gestured for the man to lie down. The process might hurt a bit. Bear with it. Okay, ARGH. The man screamed before he finished the sentence. Leo smiled cruelly as he worked. Curing them was easy, but he wasn't going to make it pleasant. Soon, the man passed out from pain. Leo kept working, muttering, family my ass. Can't even afford $1,500. If I don't let you visit the gates of hell, I opened this clinic for nothing. Fainting isn't allowed. I didn't buy anesthesia, just so you could sleep through the pain. Leo pressed a pressure point, waking the man up. Squeal, like a pig being slaughtered. In the lobby, the Chun members tensed. What is he doing in there? Is he healing him or killing him? Can I still transfer hospitals? The Chun leader stared at the door darkly. If his man didn't walk out healed, this clinic was getting torched. Just then, the door opened. The patient walked out, moving normally, though his face was deathly pale and soaked in sweat. How is it? The others asked. It's cured. Doesn't hurt anymore. But what? The treatment. It hurts. It hurts so much I wished I was dead. Everyone winced, but the results were undeniable. He was healed in minutes. Even specialists couldn't do that. If they knew Leo's thoughts, they'd weep. Of course I can fix it, I broke it. Next, Leo called out. Marco looked at the leader for payment. The leader gritted his teeth. $1,500 in minutes. What a scam. He paid again. Go scrape up more cash. I'm afraid we won't have enough. Marco watched the money roll in, marveling at Leo. He realized these injuries were Leo's doing. Beat them up, then charge them to fix it. They even have to say thank you. Marco looked at the thugs with pity. Better pay up and shut up. If you try to get the money back, mister, Evans will make you wish you were never born. Marco wondered if he should report this income to Ava. If Leo kept this as a secret stash. NYC, a high-end private hospital. Doctor, what is wrong with Master Westcott? Walter Wong was sweating buckets, trembling. Why won't he wake up? Behind him stood the elite of the Westcott dynasty, the atmosphere grim. Despite the best specialists examining him, Sebastian Westcott remained comatose. Finally, a doctor looked past Walter to the Westcott representative. Steward Shu, I apologize. We've tried everything. We can't diagnose the specific condition. It's likely something we've never seen. Steward Shu's eyes bulged. Even this place can't treat him. Sebastian was the only heir. Currently, no. The doctor hesitated. But we've seen similar unexplained comas before. Some became vegetables, but others were cured by folk remedies in small clinics. Folk remedies? Shu exploded. This is the most advanced hospital in the city. And you're talking about back alley witch doctors? The doctors were helpless. It sounded absurd, but they had indeed seen patients cured by strange, unscientific methods. Let us observe him for a few more days. Observe? Shu roared. Every day he sleeps, the patriarch's patience thins. If you observe him to death, can you take responsibility? The doctors fell silent. Shu scowled. Where is this clinic you mentioned? Let me find the address. The doctor scribbled on a paper. Virtue Clinic. Here. Shu snatched the paper. Move him. Let's leave this useless hospital. He glared at Walter. You better pray the young master wakes up, or the Wong family will be buried with him. Walter shuddered, wishing he had just taken Sebastian out for pizza instead. Then they wouldn't have been home when Leo arrived. Meanwhile, inside Virtue Clinic. Art, stop. Kill me. Just kill me. Screams echoed continuously. Every scream was followed by a pale, traumatized man walking out, looking like he'd seen ghosts. Next, Dr. Rain's voice sounded like the call of Yamaraja, the king of hell. To the Chun crew, this doctor was a living demon. Enter the room, see the smile, visit hell. Leo had treated dozens. He feigned exhaustion. How many left? Boss, 5 paid. Unpaid. Medical countif. 30-something. What? Leo looked shocked. 30 more? You trying to kill me? He waved his hands. No more. After these 5, I'm closing. The remaining men panicked. They had waited so long. Seeing their comrades healed and walking, they were desperate. Dr. Rain, you can't do this, the leader pleaded. We only brought 30 because of your space limits. Understand, Leo said gravely. Doctors have hearts of gold, but I'm human. This technique drains my life force. Honestly, for 1,500, I wouldn't normally do this, but I want to save lives. Sigh, a doctor's heart. The Chun members twitched. Heart of gold? What parent beats their kid like this? If you don't care about money, refund the fees. Dr. Rain, you mean the money isn't enough? I didn't say that. I'm just tired. I can't do any more. I'll add 300 per person. You misunderstand. I need rest. 700. I really can't. 3,000 a head. That should be enough. Sorry. Sigh. Fine. Leo sighed deeply. A doctor's heart. I'll try my best. The Chin leader's face turned black. Marco's shoulders shook as he suppressed laughter. Mr. Evans was amazing. Doubled the price in a few sentences, and the customer offered it himself. Just then, a rough voice boomed from the entrance. Where's the doctor? Get out here. The Wong syndicate had arrived. Wong family. The Chin leader frowned. Why are they here? The Wong representative saw the Chins and paused, then realized the situation. Doctor, treat us first. Hurry. Bullshit. Get in line. Screw you. Since when do Chins stand in front of Wongs? Say that again. The atmosphere grew tense. Leo coughed. Gentlemen, this is a place of healing. Take fights outside. The Wong man looked at Leo. You the boss. And the doctor? Good. He waved his hand. Whatever the Chins are paying, I'll pay double. Treat my men first. The Chin leader started to speak, then shut up. Leo's eyes lit up. Sir, are you sure? Of course. It's just money. Leo turned to the Chun leader. You don't mind, right? I wouldn't dare. The Chun leader smirked sarcastically. The Wongs are rich. Let them go first. Double mint $6,000 a head. Only an idiot would pay that. All right then. Paper person. Enter one by one. Guaranteed cure. Immediate mobility. You can ask Mr. Chun here. Leo's attitude flipped to premium customer service. Good. I'll pay it all at once. We have 27 people. How much? Marco calculated quickly. 27 people at $6,000 each. That's $162,000. Marco looked at Leo. Boss discount. Leo nodded. New customers. Call it $150,000. Doctor's heart and all that. How much? The Wong man froze. $150,000. The Chun leader was stifling laughter. The math checks out. We're paying $3,000. You offered double. That's $6,000. Dr. Rain is kind. He knocked off 12 grand for you. As expected of the Wong syndicate. Rich. We Chins bow down. The Wong man's face looked like he'd swallowed a fly. $150,000 medical bill? Insane. Sir, cash or card? Leo beamed. You guys are scamming me. Scamming. Marco turned the laptop screen around, showing the Chin family's recent transfer of $3,000. The Wong man choked. Card or cash? Leo asked again. The Chin members chimed in. Wow. Surely the Wong family isn't broke. All talk, no wallet? Did you forget your purse? The Wong man turned purple. If he backed down, the Chins would spread the word, damaging the family reputation. He turned to his men. You, empty your pockets. Transfer everything to me. The family will reimburse you. He scraped together the funds and transferred $150,000 to Marco. Is that enough? He hissed. Certainly. Serving patients is my life's goal. Leo smiled. But I need to finish the current Chin patients first. They paid already. Leo turned to the unpaid Chins. If you want to continue, you can pay the new rate of $6,000 to jump the line. Or wait. Leo turned to the unpaid Chins. If you want to continue, you can pay the new rate of $6,000 to jump the line. Or wait. The Chins shook their heads frantically. Hell no. The Wongs waited while Leo finished the Chins. The screams from inside were blood-curdling. The Wong's expression soured. What is happening? Pain is part of the cure, the Chun leader mocked. If the Wongs are scared of a little pain, you can leave. We won't laugh. Much. Oomph. Scared. The Wong leader sneered. We are Wongs. If we can't handle pain, we're no better than you trash. He turned to his men. When you go in, keep your mouth shut. Don't embarrass me. The treated Chin members tried not to laugh. Silence? In there? Good luck. Finally, Leo walked out. Chins are done. He looked at the Wongs. Who's first? The Wongs hesitated. No one moved. Leo frowned. Not treating? No refunds. He glanced outside, disappointed the Sue family hadn't shown up. They must have snagged the hospital beds first. As for Sebastian Westcott, Leo chuckled internally. His cheap shot skill had a specific debuff. Only he could remove it. Sebastian would be asleep for a few days. If the Westcotts didn't find him soon, Sebastian would just nap longer. Yo, thought the Wongs were made of iron? The Chun leader jeered. Leo said hurry up or leave. The Wong leader pushed one of his men forward. Go! The man entered. A second later, scream. The Wong leader's face went black. The Chins howled with laughter. The screams continued until dawn. It was terrifying enough to scare ghosts away. Leo walked out, sporting fake dark circles under his eyes. Only the Wongs remained. Sir, all 27 have been cured. Satisfied, the Wong leader looked at his men. Pale, shaken, but moving freely. Dr. Rain, hard work. The man smiled, then his expression shifted. He pulled out a gun, aiming it at Leo. His men locked the clinic door. Leo narrowed his eyes. What is the meaning of this? Dr. Rain, I'll be blunt, the man growled. $150,000 is too heavy a price for you to hold. Leo understood. They wanted a refund. Marco looked at the gunman with pity. Buddy, you have a death wish. Pointing a gun at Mr. Evans. So, you want the money back? Correct. Or put another way. Click. He cocked the gun. $150,000 to buy your life. Leo shook his head, laughing. His life was worth $150K. The blacklist had him at $15 million. Even sterling was worth hundreds of millions. This was insulting. What's funny? Nothing. Just thought of a joke. Leo sighed. Marco, give it back to them. Marco froze. Give it back? Boss, really? Of course. Didn't you hear him? Leo said helplessly. If we don't, I die. Our original intention was to save lives, not hoard wealth. Marco, remember, a doctor's heart. Marco had expected Leo to slaughter them. Hearing this, he realized Leo must have a crueler plan. Marco refunded the money. The Wong leader checked his phone, sneered at Leo, and said, "Keep your mouth shut about today, or else." They left. Marco walked up to Leo. "Boss, they really have a death wish." Leo smiled darkly. "Don't worry. Soon, he'll be back begging." Leo had tortured them for a reason. He left a latent energy signature in their bodies during the cure. Every 24 hours, the pain would return, worse than before. It was a subscription service now. 3-day cycle to manage, 15 days to cure. If they wanted relief, they had to pay. If they thought last night was hell, they hadn't met the real devil yet. Leo stretched. "Get some sleep, Marco." "But boss, you haven't slept either." "I'm built different." Leo waved. "I'm getting breakfast. Want some?" "Soy milk and a donut." "Got it." Leo changed out of his coat and left. The dark circles vanished instantly. Leo found a dumpling shop. He ordered 5 steamers of soup dumplings. The owner stared. "Buddy, you eating all that? I'll pack leftovers." Leo took a photo and sent it to Ava. "Breakfast." She replied instantly. "You're eating breakfast? Did you pull an all-nighter?" Leo smiled. She knew him too well. "Yeah, busy saving lives." "Ava, I bet you were scamming people." "Anyway, Dad got back last night. Arm broken. Tried to act cool. Mom beat him up." Leo laughed. "I'll be back once I clean up the mess with my parents." "Ava, okay. Reggie says he misses you." Leo smiled warmly. "That cat was too proud to say that. Tell her I miss her too." Leo put down the phone and ate. Around him, diners gossiped. "Did you hear? The Su, Chun, and Wong families all got beat up last night." "By who?" "One guy. Leo Evans. Number 10 on the blacklist." "No way." "The Westcott dynasty is furious. They put a separate bounty on him. $5 million. Plus the blacklist bounty. Leo is worth nearly $15 million now. His mom, Carol Evans, is worth $15 million too. And his dad, David, is $45 million. Damn, that family is worth $75 million combined." Leo stopped chewing. "Excuse me? My dad is $45 million and I'm only 15? Even with the Westcott bonus? Look down on me. Put another bounty on me. I want to be number 1. Boss, pack of soy milk and donut to go." Leo paid and headed back. As for the Westcott hit squad, not a doctor. Rain's business. "Boss, you're back." Marco took the food. "While I was gone, anyone come?" "No one," Marco whispered. "But the 3 families definitely know about the clinic now." Just then a man walked in. "Who's in charge?" "I'm the owner. I'm the landlord. Collecting rent. Lease is up in 2 days. Pay or get out." Leo froze. His dad didn't mention rent. He thought David bought the place. "Wait a sec." Leo called David. "Hey, son. Hey, nothing. Why is a landlord asking for rent?" "Duh. You're in a place. You pay rent. It's part of growing up. Get used to it." Click. David hung up. Dead old man. Leo gritted his teeth. "Well, $10,000 a month," the landlord said. $10,000. Leo gasped. "This is NYC commercial real estate, kid." Leo sighed. He had Marco transfer the $10,000 using the Chun family money. He swore to get this back from David tenfold. He needed to make money. Leo walked to the door, erased the trauma-cured sign, and wrote, "Money cures all. No money, do not disturb. If the price is right, I cure the incurable." Marco twitched. "Boss, isn't that a bit direct?" "Marco, we aim to save lives. But the key word is save. Can't save them if we starve. No money, no doctor." Marco hesitative. "Boss, actually, Miss Reed left some money with me. For emergencies. But she said not to tell you because you'd spend it on stupid stuff." "What? How much?" $1 million. "Give it to me." "Can't." Marco shook his head. "If I give it to you without her permission, I'm dead." Leo laughed. "You really don't know who wears the pants in my house." Marco nodded. Everyone knew Leo was whipped. Leo kicked him gently. "Drink your soy milk and sleep." He didn't need the $1 million. He had 3 cash cows. The Chun, Su, and Wong families. From now on, treatment started at $7, $500. Don't want to pay? Enjoy the Midnight Pain subscription. Leo set up a lawn chair at the door, lying down to sunbathe, waiting for customers. If they didn't come, he'd wait for nightfall and go make some more. To Leo's surprise, his first customer arrived before the sun even went down. And this wasn't just any customer. Not far off, a formidable group of people was marching down the street, causing pedestrians to scatter in their wake. "Look, it's the Westcott family. Why are there so many of them? Did something big happen? Who knows? Don't gawk, or you might get dragged into it. Look, they're heading for that clinic." At the front of the procession, Steward Shu held a piece of paper with an address, scanning the surroundings. He slowed his pace and stopped right in front of Leo's establishment. Virtue Clinic. Steward Shu looked up at the signboard, then back at the address in his hand. This had to be the place. Leo, who was lounging in a chair basking in the afternoon sun, slowly opened his eyes. Gentlemen, looking for a cure? Hearing this, Steward Shu focused his gaze on Leo and asked coolly, "Are you the owner of this clinic?" "Yeah." Leo nodded, adding, "And the doctor?" Steward Shu noticed the chalkboard sign next to the door. "Money talks, broke walks. Terminal cases welcome." Shu asked hurriedly, "Is what's written on the board true?" "Of course it's fake," Leo laughed. "If I could actually cure terminal illnesses, would I be running a hole-in-the-wall clinic here?" The faces of the Westcott entourage behind Steward Shu darkened instantly. Shu stared intently into Leo's eyes for a long moment before sighing. They were already here. They might as well let him try. "Bring the young master inside," Steward Shu ordered, then turned back to Leo. "How should I address you?" "The name's Rain. You can call me Boss Rain or DR. Rain." "DR. Rain, our young master has a condition. We'd appreciate it if you took a look." Sebastian Westcott was carried out of the car and into the clinic. The moment Leo saw Sebastian, he chuckled inwardly. It was like someone handing him a pillow just as he was getting sleepy. "All right, since it's the Westcott dynasty, I'll take a look." Leo led Steward Shu inside. Marco was already awake, sitting behind the counter. "Marco, pour them some tea." Marco froze. "Tea? Since when do we have tea? Should I DoorDash some boba?" Fortunately, Steward Shu waved his hand. "No need for tea. Please, just examine the young master." Leo didn't waste any more words. He put on a show of examining Sebastian, gently checking his pulse before speaking flatly. "Young Master Westcott has been in a coma for almost a day, right? Judging by the pulse, specifically 17 hours. Steward Shu's pupils constricted. He looked at Leo in shock. This DR. Rain is the real deal. Just by checking a pulse, he pinpointed the exact duration of the coma. Shu's tone instantly became more respectful. "That is correct. I didn't expect DR. Rain's medical skills to be so profound." Leo laughed internally. "I'm the one who knocked him out. Of course I know how long it's been." Leo continued his examination from head to toe, his expression growing grave. He let out a heavy sigh. What is it?" Steward Shu's heart tightened at the sigh. "What exactly is wrong with the young master?" Leo remained silent for a long time before speaking slowly. "Your young master's condition is very difficult to treat." Steward Shu froze, then stood up in excitement. "Difficult to treat means it can be treated. As long as it was possible, there was hope. Please, DR. Rain, save our young master." He bowed deeply to Leo. "Hey, what are you doing?" Leo quickly helped Steward Shu up, speaking with earnest gravity. "A doctor's heart is like a parent's. Seeing young Master Westcott like this pains me too. Don't worry, I will do everything in my power. Even if I have to risk my old life, I will bring him back." Steward Shu was moved by the sentiment, but then Leo continued. "However, Steward Shu, I have some concerns. I hope you can help me resolve them." "What concerns? Please, speak freely." "To be honest, I've heard some rumors today. The reason young Master Westcott is in this state is because of that guy named Leo Evans, right?" Leo lowered his voice. "My little clinic is terrified of retaliation from Evans. So if I treat the young master, I hope the Westcott dynasty can send people to protect this place." Steward Shu nodded without hesitation. "That is only natural. Rest assured, from now on, Westcott guards will protect this clinic 24 hours a day. If that Evans dares to show up, we will kill him on sight." Leo looked visibly relieved. "There is one more concern. To fully cure the young master's condition, it will require a treatment course of at least 1 month. And the herbal medicines required are extremely expensive." "Money is no object," Steward Shu interrupted. "Use the best medicine available. Whatever it costs to save the young master, we will pay." Hearing such wealthy confidence, Leo's eyes lit up. Good people. As expected of the Westcott dynasty, one of the 4 pillars. Look at this attitude compared to the Wong family, who robbed me of a measly 150 grand. No wonder they'll be a vassal family forever. "One last thing," Leo added quickly. "It's about the Wong family." "The Wong family? What do they have to do with this?" "It's like this. Last night, Leo recounted the previous night's events, altering a few details. "In the end, the Wongs not only threatened me with guns and stole back the medical fees, but they also destroyed all my medical supplies. All I have left is some worthless gauze. Before leaving, they claim the Westcott dynasty backs them, so if I tried anything, they'd take my life." Leo choked up, acting the victim perfectly. I help people, yet they threaten me like this. If I hadn't given them the money yesterday, you probably wouldn't even be seeing me today, Steward Shu, let alone me treating your young master. Hearing this, Steward Shu clenched his fists in rage. He gritted his teeth. The Wong family. The audacity. In Leo's narrative, the Wong family had become villains who committed crimes while waving the Westcott banner. In reality, that wasn't far from the truth. They just weren't quite as flamboyant about it as Leo described. Rest assured, Dr. Rain, as long as you save the young master, I will personally handle this justice for you. Steward Shu patted his chest in guarantee. This promise made Leo narrow his eyes slightly, gaining a new understanding of the Westcott dynasty. If he saved Sebastian, they'd back him up. But if he couldn't, would they just let the matter slide? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. The Wongs act like trash because the Westcotts allow it, Leo thought to himself. But this means I don't have to hold back. Sigh, let me save the patient first. Let's see if I can wake him up. Leo said softly. Please help carry young Master Westcott into the room. Steward Shu immediately directed his men to follow Leo's instructions. However, when Shu tried to follow them inside, Leo stopped him. Apologies, Steward Shu. My medical technique is a proprietary family secret. Furthermore, I require absolute silence to focus on saving the young master. The implication was clear. If you come in, you'll distract me. If something goes wrong, I'm not responsible. Steward Shu hesitated, glanced at the unconscious Sebastian, and slowly nodded. Then, I'll leave it to you, Dr. Rain. Don't worry, I'll do my best. Leo closed the door, shutting Steward Shu and the others out. Inside, it was Joe and Sebastian. Leo looked at Sebastian on the bed, pondering his next move. Waking him up was simple. He just needed to cancel the effect of the cheap shot. A few taps on the forehead with the baton would do the trick. But if Sebastian woke up perfectly fine, the Westcotts would likely turn their backs on him immediately. I need to leave some lasting effects. Leo mumbled. He pulled a set of silver needles from a drawer and began inserting them into Sebastian's pressure points. Since I said the treatment takes a month, you're going to be sickly for a month. And you'll need to have occasional flare-ups, just like the others I treated, a little trip to death's door now and then. Given how weak he is, I should probably tone down the pain. I don't want him to actually kick the bucket. TSK, I really am an angel in a white coat. Where else can you find a doctor so considerate of his patients? Leo muttered to himself as he worked. If Sebastian weren't unconscious, he would have been screaming in agony by now. For Leo, doing this delicately enough to avoid detection by modern hospital equipment was no small feat. After half an hour of work, Leo was done. Phew. He exhaled, removed the needles, and pulled out the familiar black baton from his waist. Aiming at Sebastian's forehead, he controlled his strength perfectly, just enough to wake him without causing brain damage. Thud, thud, thud. After a few taps, Sebastian's brow furrowed. Leo stopped, put the baton away, and then stood there, covering his own ears with his hands. Sebastian slowly opened his eyes. Before he could even focus on his surroundings, a piercing, heart-wrenching pain assaulted him. Arg! Arg! Sebastian let out a miserable shriek that startled Steward Shu outside. Young master! Hearing the scream, Shu panicked. Ignoring Marco's attempt to block him, he ordered his men to smash the door open. Crash! The door splintered open. Leo frowned instantly. Who told you to come in? Young master, what's wrong? Steward Shu ignored Leo, rushing to the agonized Sebastian. Seeing Sebastian unable to respond, he turned to Leo. Dr. Rain, what is happening to him? I should be asking you what the hell is happening. Leo cursed without holding back. Didn't I explicitly tell you not to enter no matter what? I was at a critical moment in the treatment. You barging in startled me. I had a chance to cure him in one go, but now? All that effort is wasted. Are you people brain dead? Leo's furious tirade stunned Steward Shu and the guards. Shu recovered quickly. Dr. Rain, it was our negligence. Please continue. Continue my ass. Leo roared. Didn't you hear me? The effort is wasted. This is how your young master is going to be now. I can't afford to treat Westcotts. I'm terrified that if he screams, you'll rush in and gun me down. Go find someone better. Steward Shu panicked. Although Sebastian was in pain, he was awake. The experts at the major hospitals couldn't even wake him up, yet this Dr. done it in half an hour. Shu was now fully convinced that this man was a hidden master. If the patriarch found out Shu had barged in and potentially ruined the cure, Shu was finished. He bowed deeply, his waist bent at a 90-degree angle. I am sorry, Dr. Rain. Please be magnanimous and forgive our rude behavior. Leo stared at him with burning intensity. After a long silence, he spoke. Get out. Let this be the last time. And apologize to Marco, then fix the door. Steward Shu nodded like a chicken pecking rice. Yes, yes, yes. We'll leave immediately. Please continue the treatment. He let his men out, walked straight to Marco, and smiled apologetically. Little brother, sorry about earlier. My apologies. Marco waved his hand. It's fine, it's fine. I forgive you. But Leo definitely won't, Marco thought. Based on this, if Leo didn't play Steward Shu to death, Marco wouldn't believe it. Why hold a grudge against a dead man? Might as well forgive him while he was still breathing. It was good karma. After Steward Shu and the others left the room, Leo felt enough time had passed. He casually pressed a few pressure points on Sebastian. Sebastian's screams gradually subsided until only heavy panting remained. He was drenched in sweat, staring blankly at the ceiling. Where is this? Clinic, Leo replied curtly, then walked out of the room. Seeing Leo emerge, Steward Shu rushed forward. Dr. Rain, the young master. Leo held up a hand to stop him. Go in and see him first. We'll talk later. Shu didn't hesitate, taking his men inside to check on Sebastian. Leo walked out to the storefront and sat in the recliner, quietly soaking up the sun. A moment later, Steward Shu supported a trembling Sebastian as they walked out to Leo. Thank you, Dr. Rain. Steward Shu and Sebastian bowed slightly. Leo opened his eyes and looked at Sebastian. Don't thank me yet. I only woke you up. With your current condition, if you aren't treated promptly, you have at most 2 months to live. Sebastian panicked. Then save me. You woke me up, so you must have a way, right? Before, it wouldn't have been a problem. If everything had gone smoothly, you'd be cured in 2 weeks. But Leo stopped, casting a meaningful glance at Steward Shu. The implication was obvious. The complications were entirely due to Shu's sudden intrusion. Shu lowered his voice. May I ask, sir, what exactly is wrong with the young master? He looks fine now. He's fine now. Wait a few days, Leo said mockingly. Within 2 days, he'll experience that heart-devouring pain again. If he survives it, good. If not, heh. Hearing this and recalling the agony, Sebastian shuddered. No. I'd rather die than feel that pain again. He muttered in panic, then fell to his knees before Leo with a thud. Dr. Rain, please save me. Your skills are incredible. You must have a way. Leo watched Sebastian silently. Steward Shu didn't stop Sebastian. Saving his life was the priority. After a while, Leo spoke slowly. Actually, it's not just you. Yesterday, I noticed the people from the Chun crew and the Wong Syndicate had similar conditions. I assume that Leo Evans used some unknown method on all of you. Your condition is more severe than the others because he likely targets you specifically. He wants to use you as leverage to threaten Dynasty. Steward Shu's face changed. If that were true, the family would be in a passive position. That Evans is truly vicious. Shu gritted his teeth. So young, yet so venomous. He cannot be allowed to live. Leo glanced at him. Good, I'm adding another mark against you in my book. Cursing me to my face? You're going to lose a layer of skin for this. Regarding the young master's illness. In all of NYC, aside from Evans himself, only I can cure it, Leo said. But if I intervene, it's equivalent to making an enemy of Evans. He won't let me off. That's why I hesitate. Your family is strong, but can you protect me forever? I'm not heartless. I just have my own survival to consider. Shu and Sebastian exchanged glances. They understood. Shu bowed deeply again. Dr. Rain, as long as you save the young master, the Westcott dynasty will welcome you as our chief physician. Your status will be higher than mine. You will be part of the family, protected by a guard squad 24 hours a day. Anything you want, if the family has it, you just have to ask. Leo rejoiced inwardly. You said it yourself. No takebacks. Outwardly, he sighed. Well, all right, a doctor's heart. Since you put it that way, Steward Shu, it would be inappropriate to refuse. Leo knew these families too well. They were polite on the surface, but if he refused again, they'd turn hostile. Diplomacy first, soldiers second. Leo wasn't afraid of fight, but why bother? He was a pacifist after all. From now on, Leo said, looking at Sebastian, the young master must stay at this clinic as an intern. It will facilitate treatment. What? Sebastian froze. An intern? What? To recover quickly, you need daily exercise. If you go back to your family estate, will you stick to a routine? Expecting a young master like you to be self-disciplined is like expecting the sun to set in the east. Besides, if you stay here, I can treat any sudden flare-ups immediately. Sebastian still looked reluctant. But I've never done manual labor. Can't we skip the exercise? Leo's face darkened. He waved his hand dismissively. Forget it. I can't serve you spoiled brats. Go find Leo Evans to cure you. Hey, wait. Steward Shu quickly grabbed Leo's arm, smiling apologetically. Dr. Rain, please understand. Our young master has never suffered a day in his life. Leo turned back and glared at Sebastian. Can you exercise? Yes. Can you endure hardship? Probably. What do you mean, probably? Forget it. Go find Evans. Steward Shu felt a headache coming on. This doctor was like a rolling stone, impossible to handle, threatening to quit every 5 seconds. If we could go to Evans, do you think we'd be here arguing with you? In the end, after much hand-wringing, Sebastian reluctantly agreed to stay at the clinic as a glorified errand boy. Consequently, Steward Shu increased the number of guards around the perimeter, instructing them all to obey Dr. Rain's orders. After all, Rain was now the Westcott dynasty's chief physician. Dr. Rain, do we need to purchase any specific medicines for the young master? Steward Shu asked respectfully. You mentioned the clinic is out of supplies. If you give me a list, we can stock up now to avoid delays. Leo waved his hand nonchalantly. No need. His condition is complex and requires adjusting the medication based on his symptoms in real time. The ingredients aren't fixed. Just give me the money for the first batch of medicine. I'll ask for more when it runs out. That works too. Steward Shu hesitated briefly, then nodded. How much does Dr. Rain need for the first batch? Leo slowly held up one finger. Shu breathed a sigh of relief. 1 million RMB, approximate. $150,000. Not too bad. He had that on him. Just as he was reaching for his wallet, Leo spoke slowly. Start with $1.5 million. 10 million renminbi. Steward Shu froze. He looked up mechanically at Leo. Excuse me? $1.5 million. And that's just to start with? Sir, did I hear you correctly? Shu withdrew his hand, incredulous. $1.5 million? What? Is there a problem? Leo asked flatly. Your young master's body is precious. Naturally, only the best medicines will do, including rare herbs aged over a century. And don't I get paid for my time? Treating him prevents me from seeing other patients. Do you know how much revenue I'm losing? Just yesterday, I made $300,000 in fees. Treating him will take at least a month. Charging you $1.5 million is me being generous. Leo leaned back in his chair. Honestly, it's a steal. Steward Shu's mouth twitched. Put that way, maybe it wasn't too much. But the problem was, he didn't carry that kind of cash. He could authorize $150,000, but $1.5 million required the patriarch's approval. Seeing Shu hesitate, Leo spoke up. What? You're hesitating over $1.5 million versus the young master's life. Sebastian turned to look at Shu. What's the deal? I, the sole heir of the Westcott dynasty, am not worth a measly $1.5 million. If Shu knew what Sebastian was thinking, he'd be crying tears of blood. Young master, you don't know the cost of rice and firewood. Dr. Rain, the amount is significant. I can't authorize it alone. I need to ask the patriarch. Shu paused. But don't worry, it's just a formality. I'll bring the money tomorrow. This card has $150,000 on it. The pin is 6/8. Treat it as an advance. I'll bring the rest tomorrow. How does that sound? Shu handed over a bank card with an ingratiating smile, silently pleading Leo not to make a scene. Leo glanced at it, took the card, and shoved it in his pocket. Bring the rest before noon tomorrow. If the treatment is delayed, I'm not responsible. Of course. We'll head back now. The young master is in your hands. He stays here, starting today. Understood. Please take care of him. He's a bit spoiled. Shu left with his men to report back, leaving Sebastian looking forlornly at the departing cars. Once they were a safe distance away and turned into an alley, Shu lowered his voice to his subordinate. Investigate this Rain. Find out where he came from and if his background is clean. I want a full dossier before I see the patriarch. Yes, sir. Back at the clinic, Leo remained comfortably in his recliner even after the sun went down. Sebastian looked around, wanting to find a chair, but Leo seemed to have eyes in the back of his head. Stand. Sebastian froze. I can't even sit. I told you, your body needs discipline and exercise, Leo said with his eyes closed. Anything that relaxes you is forbidden. Understand? Of course, if you really want to die, turn left out the door and go far away. Don't die in my clinic. Before Sebastian could speak, a guard couldn't take it anymore. How dare you? You're just a doctor. How can you speak to the young master like that? Leo didn't get angry. He opened his eyes slightly. Do you believe that even if I killed you right now, your young master wouldn't dare make a sound? Leo turned to look at Sebastian. Right, young master? Sebastian's face fluctuated. Answering yes would chill his guards' hearts. Answering no might make Rain quit. He bit the bullet. Dr. Rain is now the family physician. We are all family. Show some respect. The guard lowered his head. Yes, young master. Behind the counter, Marco looked at Leo with indescribable admiration. Look at that. That is a textbook undercover operation. Comparing this to his own days suffering as a casino manager in the Fong family. Marco wanted to cry. Leo had just cursed out a major heir to his face, successfully infiltrated the Westcott family, and casually made $1.5 million. No, likely more, and everyone was terrified of offending him. Comparisons are odious, Marco thought. Evening at the Westcott estate. Silas Westcott sat in his chair, holding a stack of documents. Steward Shu stood nearby, speaking in a low voice. Patriarch, I've checked. This Rain seems clean. He's originally from North Point. His family was in business, went bankrupt, and he left his hometown for NYC to make a living. His trail from North Point to here is traceable. Since arriving, he opened his own clinic. Nothing suspicious. Silas Westcott frowned as he listened, scanning the file. After a while, he interrupted Shu. You're saying only this doctor can save Sebastian's life? It appears so. I asked Dr. Marks at the city hospital. He was helpless against the young master's condition. But Rain woke him up, Shu said firmly. I witnessed his medical skill personally. I believe he is legitimate. Plus, before we arrived, he treated people from the Chun and Wong families. Silas Westcott nodded, then turned to the man sitting on his other side. Leland, what do you think of this Rain? Steward Shu fell silent, looking at Leland Vance. Leland chuckled. What can I think? Your son's life is in his hands. What choice do you have? Are you implying this Rain is problematic? I didn't say that, but if it were me, I wouldn't be so hasty to admit him into the family. Leland's words seemed to mock Shu's rashness. Shu's face darkened. If Silas said it, fine. But who is Leland Vance? A stray dog living under their roof. True, I'm not as cautious as Mr. Vance, Shu said with a fake smile. But for all Mr. Vance's caution, look where you ended up, in my Westcott family. Leland's eyes flashed with a sharp light. He stared at Shu in silence. Shu stared back, unafraid. This was Westcott territory. He didn't believe Leland dared to touch him. Silas Westcott placed the file on the table. He wants $1.5 million. Yes. He says it's for the first batch of medicine and fees. Later there might be. Give it to him. Silas laughed. Like Leland said, my son's life is in his hands. We have no room to bargain. Even if this Rain has problems, I have to play deaf and blind. Unless I don't want a son and the Westcott dynasty doesn't want an heir. Seeing Shu about to speak, Silas waved his hand. That's final. Take the money to him tomorrow. He stood up, paused, then added, Actually, I'll go with you tomorrow. As a father, with my son in such a state, not visiting would be unreasonable. Silas laughed and left the hall. Only Leland and Shu remained. Leland took a sip of tea, stood up, and said, Shu, do you know why Silas accepted me even knowing I have nothing left? Shu frowned. Isn't it because he owes you a favor from the old days? Ha ha. Leland laughed maniacally, his face twisting. That's why you're just a lousy butler. Favors can be the most valuable thing, or the most worthless. When you have nothing, try calling in a favor from those old contacts. See if they help you. This is NYC. People eat people when they're hungry. Leland walked slowly toward Shu. Shu watched the savage expression on Leland's face, his heart pounding as he backed away. What do you want? Nothing. Just telling you, Leland growled. My relationship with Silas is a partnership. I'm not a charity case. Do you understand? Believe it or not, even if I killed you right now, Silas would just smile and hire a new butler. Your position can be filled by any dog. So stop barking at me. Understand? Without waiting for an answer, he turned and walked away. Shu huddled in the corner, gasping for air, sweat soaking his clothes. He had only felt that kind of oppressive aura from Silas Westcott himself. Since the Manhattan incident, Silas had become very mild-mannered. They had forgotten that the patriarchs of the old generation had all climbed their way up through a world of cannibalism. Meanwhile, at Virtue Clinic. You want me to work the night shift? Sebastian stood dumbfounded, watching Leo and Marco prepare to head to their rooms to sleep. Yeah, any problem? Leo asked matter-of-factly. You work at my clinic now. Isn't shift work normal? But you didn't tell me during the day. I didn't nap. Why would you nap during the day? Leo looked confused. You have to work during the day too. Sebastian was stunned. So, I work the day shift, and then I also work the night shift? Exactly. You're young. What's a little overtime? When you enter the real world, stop right there. Don't give me that corporate speech. When can I rest? When the shift changes. We rotate monthly. Next month, you swap with Marco, and then you can rest. And next month, Sebastian's eyes widened. What kind of sweatshop is this? Others do 9 to 5. Here it's 24/7? Join the job, start working, quit the job, finally clock out. Even capitalists would weep at this efficiency. Oh, you can sleep if you want. Sleep on the counter. Just wake us up if a patient comes in. Leo waved. Good luck, I believe in you. Good night. Click. The door closed, leaving Sebastian standing in the wind, utterly bewildered. Young master, this. The guard hesitated. Even for them, a 24/7 schedule was insane. They worked in shifts. This what? Do you have the guts to go in there and drag him out? Sebastian glared at his men. You guys take the shift. I'm sleeping on the recliner. Wake me if someone comes in. Sebastian dragged the recliner into the corner behind the counter, put on an eye mask since the lights were on, and fell fast asleep. The guards looked at each other helplessly and took up positions. They agreed on who would take the first half of the night and who the second. Damn, what clinic is open 24 hours? A guard grumbled, watching the empty street. Is this boss Rain crazy for money? Expecting business in the middle of the night? Shut up. He's the family physician now, not someone we can gossip about. Just do our job. It's a little overtime. Endure it. Bro, you're weirdly positive. Are you addicted to overtime? Think about it differently. At least we have control. We can't decide when to clock out, but we can decide how hard we work while clocked in. Buddy, you really are a natural-born corporate slave. Just as their chatter picked up, they heard the sound of many footsteps. The guards fell silent, looking at the door. Someone actually came to the clinic at night. Immediately, they sensed something was wrong. A group of men in black ski masks rushed into the clinic with lightning speed and locked the door behind them. Rain, hand over the mon. The lead masked man froze mid-sentence. Strange. Yesterday, there were only 2 people. Why is it packed tonight? And those uniforms look familiar. The Westcott guards looked at the masked men with amusement. Interesting. A robbery? Tisk, what's the racket? Sebastian sat up, his head popping up from behind the counter. Can't a guy get some sleep? The lead robber looked toward the voice. Sebastian pulled off his eye mask. The robber squinted. Hiss, why the hell is young Master Westcott here? Who are you? What are you doing? Take off those masks. As Sebastian's voice fell, the masked men obediently pulled off their masks. Young Master Westcott. Misunderstanding. It's a misunderstanding. We're from the Chin crew. Let me explain. This was the same man from the Chun family who had come for treatment the previous night. He had promised to pay $100,000, approximate $15,000, and planned to steal it back tonight, along with teaching Rain a lesson. The plan was to pretend to be robbers, rob the clinic, and beat up Rain. But the situation had completely spiraled. He hadn't expected Sebastian Westcott to be here, let alone with a squad of Westcott guards. Explain? You're Chin family, but dressed like this. Sebastian frowned. Don't tell me you're here to rob the place. The Chin man stammered. He was here to rob the place. But he couldn't admit that now, not knowing the relationship between Sebastian and Rain. Creak, Leo's door opened. What's going on? So noisy. Oh, it's you. Leo looked at the lead Chun man with surprise. You really came to deliver the medical fees? Huh? Yes. The Chin man nodded frantically. Yes, Dr. Rain. I came specifically to deliver the fees. You really shouldn't have. Sending one guy would have been enough. Why bring a whole crowd? It's just a nice night for a group walk. Ha ha ha. A walk dressed like that? Halloween is coming up. We're practicing. Leo stifled a laugh and extended his hand. We agreed on $150,000, right? 1 million renminbi approximate. The Chin man's mouth twitched. 150 grand? You really dare to ask. But he glanced at Sebastian, who seemed disinterested and entirely deferential to Rain. The Chin man gritted his teeth, pulled out a bank card, and handed it to Leo. Dr. Rain, I left in a hurry and forgot the other card. This one has 75,000. As for the remaining 75, he turned and roared at his men behind him. Pool your money. Get the cash together for Dr. Rain. Leo took the card. Oh, if it's trouble, another day is fine. I'm in no rush. The Chun man shook his head like a rattle drum. Another day? Another day you'll ask for another 100 grand. I'm paying it all today and counting it as bad luck. He realized Sebastian and Rain had an unusual relationship. This 150 grand was hush money. Hell, he'd pay more if it meant using Rain to get close to Sebastian. Dr. Rain, please accept it. He handed over a pile of cash and transferred funds, totaling the remaining amount with an ingratiating smile. Then he turned to Sebastian. Young Master Westcott, what a coincidence. I didn't expect to see you here. Do I need to report my whereabouts to you? No, no, no. I didn't mean that. Just asking if there's anything that Chun crew can help with. I'll be staying at this clinic recently. Don't disturb me. That's the biggest help. Understood. We're leaving immediately. The Chun man turned and led his men out without hesitation. They had arrived like wolves and left like beaten dogs. Leo played with the bank card in his hand, smirking. I didn't realize young Master Westcott was so domineering with others. Sebastian scoffed. If I didn't need you to cure me, I wouldn't be polite to you either. Leo smiled and said nothing, taking the card back to his room. Remember your shift, young master. Sebastian's mouth twitched. He clenched and unclenched his fists, then turned to glare at his guards. Did you hear him? Watch the door. He went back to his recliner to sleep. Early the next morning, Sebastian groggily opened his eyes from the recliner. Marco's face loomed over him, chewing on a cruller. Holy SH. Sebastian jumped like a startled rabbit. W, what are you doing? Boss told me to wake you. Sun's burning your butt. Marco handed him a cruller and a cup of coffee. Here, boss bought breakfast. Sebastian stared at it for a moment before taking it. What is this stuff? Coffee and crullers. You've never had them. I usually have chef-made sandwiches and milk. Oh, if you don't want it, fine. Marco reached to take it back, but Sebastian pulled his hand away. He sensed that if he didn't eat this, he wouldn't eat at all today. Actually, I enjoy commoner food occasionally, Sebastian lied with a forced smile. Marco didn't press the issue. He went back to the counter, opened his messaging app, and began his daily ritual. Good morning, Quinn. Are you busy? Did you eat? We got a new intern at the clinic. A rich kid. Pretty funny. Sebastian took a bite of the cruller. Not bad. A bit dry. He dipped it in the coffee. Better. It actually tasted better than the sandwiches at home. Munching away, Sebastian leaned over to see what Marco was doing. You can't chase girls like that, Sebastian's voice said from behind, startling Marco. Marco turned, glaring. Why are you peeping at my privacy? Because I'm a rich playboy, Sebastian stated, as if it were a valid reason. Marco was speechless. That's not the point. The point is, you sent so many messages, and she hasn't replied to a single one. Sebastian put on a been there, done that expression. Chasing a girl like this? You'll never get her. Marco hesitative. Then what should I do? He was a novice in love. He had once asked Leo how he wooed Ava Reed. Leo had said, simple. First, confess in front of the whole class, then wait for her to kidnap you. Marco couldn't learn that. Impossible. You have to play hard to get, Sebastian said confidently. Make her interested first, then act distant. Make her start caring about you. Young Master Westcott, is that how you chase girls? No, I don't need to do that, Sebastian said matter-of-factly. I just introduce myself as Sebastian Westcott, and they throw themselves at me. Marco's mouth twitched. I can't learn that either. Is there a method for normal people? Leo stood at the door basking in the sun, listening to the conversation with a twitching eye. Marco. Asking a spoiled rich kid for dating advice. Desperate times call for desperate measures, I guess. Leo had actually asked around for Marco. Quinn wasn't intentionally cold to Marco specifically. She ignored everyone, including her parents. Unless it was strictly business, she didn't reply to fluff. That Marco hadn't been blocked, yet meant Quinn actually tolerated him reasonably well. Just as Leo was about to tell Marco to give up, Quinn finally replied. One word. Roll. Get lost. But Marco, the love-struck fool, interpreted it differently. She doesn't tell others to get lost, only me. I must be special to her. Leo had no energy to roast such logic. Let the moth fly into the flame. He'll learn when he gets burned. Stretching, Leo saw nothing happening and prepared to go out for some fun. Suddenly, his ears twitched. He turned to look. Several black sedans were approaching, Westcott family cars. The cars stopped in front of the clinic. Steward Shu opened the rear door of the lead car respectfully. Leo frowned. A middle-aged man with salt and pepper hair wearing a mouse suit stepped out. Even from a distance, Leo felt the mountain-like pressure radiating from him. Steward Shu led the man to the clinic. Dr. Rain, this is the current patriarch of the Westcott dynasty, Silas Westcott. Dad, Sebastian grinned, seeing his father. You finally came. Silas Westcott ignored his son. His burning gaze was fixed on Rain. Rain smiled slightly and extended his hand first, neither humble nor arrogant. Hello, Patriarch Westcott. I am the owner of this clinic. You can call me Rain or Dr. Rain. Silas didn't shake his hand. He stared into Rain's eyes and slowly spat out two words. Leo Evans? Everyone froze. Behind the counter, Marco clenched his fists. Impossible. How was Leo exposed? Leo Evans? Steward Shu stared at Rain with wide eyes. You are Evans? Rain's expression didn't change. He withdrew his hand and chuckled. Patriarch Westcott has an interesting sense of humor. Silas said coolly, What? Try to deny it. Why would I deny it? Rain shrugged, mocking him. Patriarch Westcott has monstrous power. If you decided to deal with me as Leo Evans, who would dare say no? Whether I am or not isn't important. As long as you think I am, then even if I'm not, I must be. Silas stared at Rain in silence. The atmosphere solidified. After a long moment, Silas suddenly laughed loudly, slapping Rain on the shoulder. Ha! Dr. Rain, don't mind me. It was Steward Shu who insisted on suspecting your identity, so I had to test you. Now I've made things awkward. Silas smiled. I took the joke a bit too far. Dr. Rain is so magnanimous. Surely you won't hold it against me. Rain chuckled. Of course not. I just hope this joke happens only once. If it happens twice, the nature of it changes. Of course. I've heard Dr. Rain is not only skilled in medicine, but a dragon among men. I had to see for myself. Silas acted very familiar. Dr. Rain, let's not stand at the door. Shall we chat inside? Rain gestured for him to enter. As Silas walked in, Leo looked at his back and took a deep breath. This old fox is not simple. Dad, you're finally here. Sebastian hovered around Silas, gesturing wildly. You have to talk to Dr. Rain. Let me go home. Not only does he make me work as an intern, but it's a 24/7 shift. Even capitalists don't have hearts this black. He seized the opportunity while Silas was sitting down to complain about the inhumane treatment. Silas looked slowly at Rain, who sat opposite him. Dr. Rain, is this true? It is. Rain nodded calmly. It benefits his condition. Silas looked up at his son. Hear that? It benefits your condition. Sebastian choked. That's it? One sentence, and I'm dismissed? What about my suffering yesterday? Obviously, no one cared about the spoiled young master. All eyes were on Rain and Silas. They were the ones calling the shots. Silas looked around. Since sitting down, he hadn't even been offered tea. But he didn't care. He wouldn't drink it anyway. I heard Dr. Rain is from North Point. Leo nodded. Correct. I have some memories of North Point. I visited once in my youth. Where specifically did Dr. Rain live? Is Patriarch Westcott suspecting my identity? No. Just curious. If it's inconvenient to say, forget it. Silas said that. But if Leo didn't answer, Silas would mark him as suspicious. Old fox. Leo kept a straight face. Patriarch Westcott hasn't been to North Point in a long time, but you should have heard of where I'm from. Oh. Silas looked curious. Is Dr. Rain's home famous? Leo chuckled lightly and slowly uttered 3 words. East Side Ridge. Silas's eyes widened slightly. He stared intently at Rain. North Point. East Side Ridge. Leo nodded with a smile. Sebastian stood aside, confused. He asked Steward Shu, What's East Side Ridge? Why is Dad so shocked? Young master, you don't know, Shu whispered with awe. In the last era, there was a saying, strange men come from North Point. In North Point, look to the East Gate. East Side Ridge. Anyone who walked out of there was not to be trifled with. They were all masters in their fields. That badass. Sebastian was stunned. Why haven't I heard of it? I barely even know the name North Point. Because North Point was affected during the Manhattan incident and became low-key. Few people from there come to NYC anymore. Shu looked meaningfully at Sebastian. But there's one name you definitely know. He came from East Side Ridge. Ooh, Sterling. Xiangqing Tian. Huh. Sebastian was truly shocked. He knew Sterling. The man who built the Bureau of Syndicate Oversight, BSO. Yes, Sterling came from East Side Ridge to NYC and built the BSO single-handedly, Shu recalled. When he rose, the major factions investigated his background and traced him to North Point. But strangely, aside from knowing he was from North Point, they found nothing else. I heard the Patriarch mention once that Sterling deliberately let them find the North Point lead to trap the families. I don't know the details. You can ask the Patriarch later. Sebastian shook his head frantically. He wasn't interested in history. He just wanted to be cured and go back to being a rich playboy. On the other side, Silas recovered from his surprise. Dr. Rain, as far as I know, East Side Ridge didn't have a doctor named Rain. And the number 1 doctor in North Point should be Dr. Horace Kane, right? He stared at Leo. With such medical skills, surely Dr. Rain has crossed paths with Dr. Kane. Horace Kane? Never heard of him. Rain replied calmly. Patriarch Westcott. Must I know every doctor in North Point? However, Leo's response made Silas laugh loudly. You don't know him? You should not know him. You cannot know anyone else, but as a doctor, you specifically don't know Horace Kane. Dr. Rain, are you truly from North Point? Leo cursed inwardly. He couldn't tell which of this old fox's words were true. Maybe Horace Kane existed. Maybe Silas was bluffing with a fake name. I hate dealing with these old foxes. Not a clean heart among them. The phone family was much cuter. Leo kept his expression flat. Patriarch Westcott, I don't know what you're trying to do. If you don't trust me, find someone else to treat your son. My temple is too small for your great Buddha. And I reiterate, I don't know any Horace Kane. At least when I was there, I never heard of him. But I have an old friend. If you really want to confirm my identity, you can ask him. Oh, Silas asked with interest. Who is this friend? Another strange man from East Side Ridge. Leo nodded, the corner of his mouth lifting slightly. He is called Silas. He is called Silas. Master Silas? Steward Shu blurted out without thinking. Dr. Rain, you know Master Silas? The legendary gunsmith. Rain glanced at him coolly. Yes, we're old friends. Silas Westcott's eyes flickered as he pondered. In truth, he had visited North Point in his youth, and Horace Kane did exist. But unlike the legend, Kane was obscure, having stopped practicing medicine over a decade ago. It was real for Rain to know or not know him. What Silas wanted was the pause for thought, flaws. But regrettably, Rain had denied knowing Kane almost instantly, and he threw out a heavyweight name like Master Silas, Imo-chom. Unlike the obscure Kane, Master Silas was famous across the country. It would be easy for Silas Westcott to send someone to verify the relationship. Rain knew this, yet he spoke with such confidence. Could he really be connected to Master Silas? Silas Westcott thought. After this test, I can be reasonably sure he is from North Point, and likely unrelated to Leo Evans. When I mentioned Evans, his expression didn't change at all. Makes sense. Evans is barely 20. Achieving what he has is shocking enough. How could he also have such masterful medical skills? Thinking this, Silas signaled Steward Shu. Shu understood immediately, pulled out a bank card, and handed it to Silas. Dr. Rain, don't mind the interrogation. Just chatting. Let's not make the atmosphere so stiff. Silas laughed and handed over the card. This card has $3 million on it. 20 million renminbi approximate. Rain frowned, not taking it. I recall asking for 1.5 million. Haha, that 1.5 is for my son's medical fees. The other 1.5 is a token of goodwill from the Westcott dynasty. Silas smiled. We wish to be friends with a man like Dr. Rain. Rain took the card, smirking, not doubting my identity anymore. Nonsense. I never doubted you. Just haven't met a North Point man in a long time. Silas stood up and waved. Dr. Rain, I have family matters to attend to. I'll leave first. My son stays here. Use him as you wish. Just cure him and fix those bad habits of his. Ask Steward Shu for anything you need. Don't be polite. Leo stood up, about to offer a polite stay for tea, but remembered he didn't have any. Then, Patriarch Westcott, take care. I won't see you out. No need. Silas waved. Steward Shu, check what the clinic needs later and send it over. Like tea leaves? Yes, sir. Noted. Leo pretended not to hear. Sebastian stood like an abandoned child. His dad hadn't said 3 sentences to him. Dad is leaving without even a goodbye, and told Rain to fix my habits? You're the one who spoiled me. Now you want to fix it. Sebastian waved listlessly as Silas left. Leo sat back in the recliner, playing with the bank card, his gaze burning hot. $3 million. The Westcotts are loaded. Paying $3 million just to make a friend. Leo felt bad scamming them. If his landlord came by now, Leo would slap the card in his face and buy the building. Yesterday you ignored me. Today you can't afford me. Leo wondered if his own dad had this kind of money. That poor guy hid $20 under a flower pot. Probably broke, controlled by mom. TSK whipped. Embarrassing. Unlike Leo, who was married, but financially free. Even richer now. Dr. Rain, shouldn't you start treating me? Sebastian walked over with a complex expression. You took the money. If you don't treat me, I'm afraid it'll hurt again. He didn't want to experience that heart-devouring pain again. Leo glanced at him. What time is it? 1 p.m. Go run 10 kilometers and come back. Huh? Sebastian was confused. Run 10 kilometers? Isn't this medical treatment? It is. Leo pulled a sheet of paper from a drawer and handed it to him. Starting today, follow this schedule strictly to regulate your life. I'll treat you at night. Keep this up for a month and you'll be fine. Sebastian took the paper, a bad feeling rising in his gut. He saw the entry for the afternoon. 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., 10 kilometers run. This is part of the cure, he asked. Of course. Are you questioning me? Leo looked annoyed. Are you the doctor, or am I? This first item makes it hard not to question you. What is 7 a.m. sharp? Go to Old Man Zhang's to buy Krolos. Walking in the morning is healthy. You buy breakfast on the way. And 6 p.m., go to Old Man Wang's for spicy ramen? Same logic. By dinner. You must. Sebastian wanted to curse, but he didn't dare. I won't do it. This treatment plan is just bullying. I struggle to run 1 kilometer, let alone 10. Sebastian shouted, vehemently protesting Boss Rain's exploitative labor practices. Leo just crossed his legs, looked at the Westcott guards, and said flatly, you guys run with him. Your patriarch said I can do whatever I want. Starting today, your duty is to ensure young Master Westcott follows the plan. If his condition doesn't improve, it's on you. Whether he runs the miles is up to you, but it won't be my head rolling if he fails. The guards looked troubled. Sebastian sneered. They're my guards. They won't listen to you. Let go. What are you doing? 2 guards grabbed Sebastian, 1 on each arm, lifting him up. Sorry, young master. It's for your health. Yes, young master. We have no choice. Please understand. Sebastian froze, then shouted, how dare you, ignoring your master? The guards pretended not to hear, bowing respectfully to Leo. Dr. Rain, rest assured. We will make sure the young master finishes the 10 kilometers. Leo nodded. Note that it's running, not walking. Pace must not exceed 8 minutes per kilometer. Got it. No. Sebastian let out a pig-slaughtering scream as he was dragged away. After they left, Marco leaned close to Leo. This Westcott kid, he says he's a playboy, but he doesn't seem like a bad guy. Leo nodded profoundly. True. Stupidly cute. By the way, boss. Marco lowered his voice to a whisper only they could hear. The young miss asked if you had any unusual situations recently. Should I report truthfully? Report what truthfully? The $3 million you took today. You dare. Leo panicked. Did Marco know how hard it was to save a private stash? Marco, you aren't married. You don't understand how important this money is to me. But if it comes out, can you protect me from the young miss? Leo's mouth twitched. If it comes out, I can't even protect myself. Then don't let her find out. But I'm scared. I'll help you chase Quinn. Deal. Marco's eyes suddenly became firm and righteous. Don't worry, Leo. I'm always on your side. Even if I die, the young miss won't find out about this. Even if she does, you can blame me. I'll take the fault. Leo looked touched. Marco, you really are a simp. Leo didn't know what to say. Aside from having long legs, a pretty face, and a good figure, what was so great about Quinn? Marco was confused. But whatever. Crisis averted. Leo stood up. Watch the clinic. I'm going for a walk. The remaining guards tried to follow. Leo waved them off. No need. Just strolling nearby. Watch the place. Before the guards could argue, Rain had vanished. They had no choice but to return to their posts. Marco went back to the counter to text Quinn. He also sent a message to Ava Reed. Leo has no unusual situations. Everything is normal. Meanwhile, at the Reed estate, since Leo wasn't home, Ava, and Ro, was bored and had moved back to her family home. Sitting on the sofa holding her cat, Reggie, she stared at Marco's message in deep thought. Leo has no unusual situations? Impossible. Everything is normal and Leo Evans were mutually exclusive concepts. Marco had definitely been compromised. Thinking this, Ava yanked a tuft of fur from Reggie's head. Meow. Pain. Reggie cried out, demanding tuna treats as compensation. Ava ignored him. Just then, a man with messy hair and stubble walked down the stairs, scratching his head. Ava, sweetie, can you make me some fried rice? Anthony Reed yawned lazily. Woke up from a nap starving. Ava rolled her eyes. You slept until the afternoon. Of course you're hungry. So, make your dear daddy some fried rice. You're all grown up, and I've never tasted your cooking. You have no hands? The kitchen is right there. Do it yourself. I am disabled. I only have one hand. Ava, if you have no filial piety, at least have some sympathy. Anthony waved his empty sleeve, looking tragic. I fought bloody battles in NYC, and now I return home to be treated like this by my daughter. Seeing her dad start his acting routine again, Ava interrupted. Can't you ask Uncle Sue to make something? Uncle Sue was the family butler. Your Uncle Sue went out with your mom early this morning to play mahjong. They needed a fourth. Fina, I'll make it. Ava stood up helplessly. Her cooking skills were subpar, but fried rice. How hard could it be? She stood in the kitchen, mind blank. Usually, her brother Julian did the cooking. Since Julian ran away, The kitchen saw little use. Ava grabbed 2 eggs and tried to replicate Julian's method. Huh, I remember when brother made it. The eggs weren't this color. Ava looked at the slightly blackened eggs and muttered, whatever. Pot hasn't been used in a while. A little black is normal. She continued. Moments later, a bowl of Ava brand fried rice was born. Here, eat. Anthony Reed looked at the pitch-black substance in front of him and fell into deep thought. After a long while, he spoke slowly. Ava, I recall fried rice doesn't usually contain chocolate. Ava froze, then grabbed a nearby pillow and smashed it at Anthony. I don't care. You have to finish it today, but I don't like chocolate. There is no chocolate in it. Then why is it that color? Say that again. Ava pummeled Anthony with the pillow. Hearing the commotion, many Reed family members popped their heads in to watch the show. Many recorded the scene of Ava beating up Anthony and posted it to the family group chat. For a moment, the Reed family was lively again.